We're live, baby. Welcome to the round 19 review. Jesse, welcome to the show. We have some big news. Some big news off the top.
Where do we start?
Richmond have pick one.
A little louder?
Richmond have pick one.
Wow. First time hearing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Are you excited?
Yeah, it kind of ruins the mock that we did last week, but thankfully, Dylan, we just recorded an emergency mock, didn't we?
We did just record an emergency mock. What do you think? I mean, obviously, I position myself here as the draft expert, but what do you think Richmond will do? Does this change a lot, do you think?
Does it change a lot? Well, yeah, I think it does, but I'm a few layers back than you from the draft focus, right? But I kind of think it's far from a lock that Harry Van Hattem goes pick one. I feel like there will be a temptation to go for the more immediate player for both clubs.
For both clubs?
Yeah.
Okay, so I've sort of had it deep. I do agree with you. I don't think Harry Van Hattem has positioned himself to such a degree that he's way above everybody else, and you just can't not pick him like, let's say, like a Willem Dersma did.
Yeah.
But I do sort of have it in my consciousness that Richmond have been the more aggressive drafting team, whereas Essendon have maybe made those more conservative draft decisions, I guess, because I think the position that their club is at, like sort of spiritually overall. So I think I would be surprised if Richmond didn't draft Harry Van Hattem, but it wouldn't be absolutely outside the question.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting how that plays out. Do you think, here's a question to you, the big one, is this a sort of North Melbourne, West Coast 2023-esque situation?
No, I think you just sort of outlined it there. That I don't think there's a consensus number one, right? So by that logic...
You know what's funny though? There isn't a consensus number one, but at the same time, the players are very different they were back then. It's not like you're getting... What's a good example of this? Like I think 2024, when you had like Lawler, Foss, maybe Jagger Smith, Harvey Langford was up the top there. In that draft, it was probably another one of those ones where like you kind of had... They were all sort of midfielders at the top of that draft, even going back to Levi Ashcroft, who was club tied. This is two very different players. So the path that you get put down here, or the path that you go, sends you in a very different direction.
Yeah.
Like if you go Harry Van Hattem, it's a development path of a few years until he becomes this like beast of a player. Whereas if you go for Teixeira or Butler, it's different, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It feels like Essendon will want some immediacy, I reckon.
Yeah.
They do have a lot of kids though.
Yeah.
Richmond as well, you could say maybe there's a sense of also wanting a quicker return on investment given they have barely been able to play a lot of the kids that they've had. I don't know, I'm speculating a little bit on mindset there. I also think though, performance-wise, I think Harry has probably stagnated from what I understand.
He had a quieter champs. He did have a really good game at the weekend, it has to be said.
Okay.
And he was injured in the lead up to the champs. So
that's fair.
Quieter champs. And I'd go back to Luke Jackson's draft. And I don't know because I wasn't as involved with the draft as I am now, but I sort of doubt that a player like Luke Jackson dominated his draft year.
That was very early days for True Footy for me, so I can't really recall his draft year that well. Maybe the chat can help us out there.
Yeah.
But I think athletically though, Jackson surely got Harry covered.
I wouldn't say that.
No?
No.
You reckon the similarity there?
I reckon Harry's got a bigger vertical.
Yeah, okay. Gross.
I reckon, particularly the standing vert, I reckon. Like Harry's a pretty freak athlete.
Yeah, okay.
Like good speed, good move, like pretty good movement overall. He's a bit like he's bigger than Jackson, which makes him like slightly less mobile in some ways, right?
Yep.
But I don't know. I reckon there's similarities there athletically. I reckon there's similarities.
Technic Prism says, how does Harry Van Hattem compare to CDT? Before you answer that, the Cohenil says 6%, 6 percentage points. Dons could still get walloped in the next few weeks and move down. So it'd be interesting to see how that happens.
So
Richmond also,
though,
they've got West Coast at the MCG.
That's the big one.
So that's the one where I think it could, if there was going to be a game either side won, that would be Richmond over West Coast.
Yeah. What was the you asked me a question?
CDT versus Harry.
CDT versus Harry. So again, as much as they're both key position players or rucks on some level, still very different. Cooper Duff-Tytler didn't have the aerial game of Harry Van Hatten. Like Harry Van Hatten in those centre bounces where you run and jump, like he dominates. Even when people have been talking about him playing quiet games of football, he still dominated the centre bounce completely. Whereas Cooper Duff-Tytler was a bit more, like he didn't have that ruck dominance. He kind of came into the game where like he'd follow up. So the ball would leave the ruck's hands and then he'd go and get it. Whereas Harry Van Hatten doesn't seem to be able to like switch into that play as quickly. I think they're both really good ball users for rucks. So both like terrific kicks. Harry's a much better marking player than what Cooper Duff-Tytler is. So around the ground marking and going into like forward positions and stuff, he's more of a key.
I'm not sure I see CDT as a number one ruck.
No.
I could see him as either a ruck forward or I could see him as a defender.
Could you not see him as like on some level, like as a winger?
Yeah, you could. Yeah.
He's got a good enough ground level game that he could actually play those sorts of roles too, I think.
That's true. Yeah. But being a 201 centimetre or whatever he is, 200 centimetre intercepting defender, he's got the athleticism and the follow-up work and the kicking and the distribution as well.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to be very different players come the end of it.
I completely agree. So, I think Van Hatten, you're banking on that fact that he's a real totem for you.
Exactly. Widescreens TV says,
Gets us every time.
Hope Butters goes to Richmond. That will cause chaos. That is so true because let's say Richmond have pick one, they trade that to Port Adelaide. Port Adelaide can get in a pick before matching a bid for Cochrane. They get to have Cochrane and say Van Hatten.
Of course.
So that's possible.
Yeah, I wasn't even considering that recently.
But you know what is even more chaotic? Richmond have
me.
pick 2. They trade pick 2 to Port Adelaide. And then whoever has pick 1, Essendon, let's say, they bid on Cochrane.
Yeah.
And then that evaporates that pick.
So Port Adelaide, like what they do with the Butters situation, if Richmond are involved in it, massively hinges on who finishes last or second last, basically. It kind of all comes back to that. Do you think that next game... So when do they play West Coast? How far out from the end of the season?
It's not this week, it's the next week.
Okay, so it's probably with 2-3 rounds to go.
We'll be live streaming it.
We'll be live streaming
we love
it.
A spoon bowl.
I forgot about that. We do.
A bottom 3 clash for the ages.
Oh my God. That's going to be absolutely massive for who gets the pick.
I think West Coast have clearly been better than Richmond lately, but it's still, they play well against us.
Why? Where is that game? That's going to be in Melbourne too.
Yeah.
You'd almost tip them.
Yeah, maybe. Of the 3 games, the most recent 3 games between those two teams, Richmond have won them all, but the closest one was the MCG one.
Yeah, true.
Which is interesting.
Do you buy into the fact that there's a lot of people talking about it at the moment, and I think fans naturally do this to make themselves feel a little better, but like right now Essendon fans are kind of going, no, it was right to win that game. Absolutely, because and they say things like pick 2's often better than pick 1 anyway. Like, do you buy into that at all? I
don't buy the pick 2 is better to have than pick 1. I do think I agree that it was really timely for Essendon to get a win right now.
Yeah.
And I think the outlook for, they're dipping their toes in the water with a lot of trade targets, right? Like, the better they can perform towards the back end of the season, the more they have a sniff of landing some of those guys. Maybe not like a Jed Walter, but even like an Alex Davies or something like that. Those low-profile targets that they're chasing. Their case becomes a little bit stronger if they're at least demonstrating they can play well as a young team.
Yeah.
In this year's draft, I also think you kind of can't lose. Like, I don't know. I kind of feel like that top 3, if you miss out on Harry Van Hatten, if that's who you want, Aki Butler, Gus Teixeira, they're pretty good.
You get a nice little consolation prize,
even
don't
Drever, he's not that far back. So, I don't know. I'm not the draft whiz that you are.
I agree with the fact that there's sort of a group, you wouldn't want to fall out of that top group. But as long as you're in, say, like the first 5 to 6 picks, I think you're absolutely sweet.
Yeah.
And it's almost nice that the decision gets taken out of your hands.
Yeah, totally.
If that makes sense. So there's something in that. But I do agree. I don't know if players from other clubs are going, Essendon beat GWS at Marvel on a Sunday afternoon. Like, I'm not sure if opposition players who might come to your club are thinking about that as much.
I think it matters a little bit. Essendon's brand right now is absolute basket case.
Yeah.
Checked out. Not putting in effort. They see a young United team will themselves over the line, and I think that does help.
So that's what I was going to tap into. I think it does so much for the Robies and the Sharps and these types of players. I suppose that is infectious then, and like almost it's an advertisement to players from outside the club as well. So
absolutely,
you probably make a good point.
I think
there.
Essendon's gone up slightly in everyone's estimations now.
Yeah. So you would go back to North Melbourne 2023 and say we should have won that game.
I think yes, I'm very happy that's the way it played out. That one I think is just different circumstantially. With Harley Reid was a clear number one.
No, it was the same. I think if you do the logic, it all just works out, Jesse.
No.
You know what I've just realised, and sorry to like absolutely cut the stream, is that my mouse and I took yours, and that's why my mouse wasn't working?
This looks no, you're going nuts. This is mine, I think.
Okay, interesting.
I think.
Yeah, what
I
brand?
actually can't be 100%
Is
sure.
that Logitech?
I reckon. No.
Oh, well then,
No, we're good.
case solved.
False alarm.
False alarm. Yeah,
Subscribe for more of that.
my mouse wasn't working. I just went, oh, shit. Okay, the wildcard situation. I've got it. This isn't a stank or bank, but I've taken some stuff off Twitter here to go with on the wildcard situation. So Tim Rosen says on Twitter here, the top 9 is wrapped up already with only 2 teams who can finish 10th, in my opinion. Just to clarify that.
Yeah.
There's way more excitement in the race for top 4 than top 10. If we still had a final 8, it would be 9 fighting for 8 and a logjam for top 4 still. So wildcard has changed nothing. Thoughts?
I think this looks at it in the current snapshot, but we were saying last week that there were certain games that felt more live because of the top 10.
Yeah.
Right? So as we get closer to the season, maybe you find those games reduce, and it is only a small data set as well. Mm-hmm. But I don't know the fixture in front of me. I can't tell you which games coming up are important, but I still look at like North Melbourne have the Bulldogs and someone else around that range, St Kilda, in the coming weeks. I'd still argue that there's enough to look forward to there.
I actually think this is a little bit short-sighted because he's sort of saying there, Tim, that if it was the usual top 8 race, you'd have the only team that could possibly make the finals would be the Cats, who are in 9th right now.
If there was an 8?
If it was 8. So go back to last year.
Yeah.
So because the Cats are 8 points clear of St Kilda, who are in 10th.
Yes.
So you'd say that the Cats would have been the cutoff for 8th, right? But we have 11th, 12th and 13th all on 32 points.
Yeah.
So it is still, he is right that it's still that one spot, but there's 3 extra teams that are actually in the running.
Yeah. I guess there's a little bit of seasoning of opinion. Maybe North Melbourne is not considered a realistic shot.
Completely.
But if you flip, say, the premiership points in the position of Geelong and North right now, you'd say Geelong are a chance to come from that far deep.
Exactly.
Right?
And also, I don't think you can be that selective. Like I think I sort of do agree, like North Melbourne aren't in the race. In fact, I would probably say that Gold Coast, as badly as they're going, they're probably more in the mix than we are on some level.
I wouldn't go that far.
I don't know if I'd go that far either. So I think Carlton is the cutoff point. So it's Giants and Carlton who probably can make the top 10.
Yeah.
But North, at least mathematically, at least for the fans, like they can have some hope.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, of course. If you ignore the team and the branding.
If you ignore history and everything we've come to know about football, then it's absolutely fine.
I am taking the piss. No, I think North are still an outside chance based on their fixture. They play St Kilda, they play the Western Bulldogs. These are 8-point games. I'm not going to tip North as it stands in either of those games, but they got within 16 points against a better side than the 2 I just named.
Yeah, it was at Marvel though. Everything was on our side, I felt, in that game. Okay. And I thought it was a pretty poor one, but I am a pessimistic North fan. Yeah. We also have not beat a single top 10 team this year. Yeah. So all the damage that we've done is against the bottom 4, pretty much. And Port Adelaide are in the bottom 4, aren't they?
Yep.
Who do we beat? Gold Coast, we beat Carlton.
You beat us.
So Carlton's the highest ranked team we've beaten. That's gross.
Yeah. But the better they get, the better you look.
True. True.
You hope they make the 10 then.
Boy says GWS the most bipolar team ever. I think that is a fact.
Yeah, it's crazy. The list of teams they've knocked off and the list of teams that have beaten them is absurd.
It's crazy. And like that game too, the fact that like there was so much riding on that game for them.
Yeah.
It wasn't like it was a nothing game. They were like well and truly safe in the 10 or they were out of the 10. Like they had everything to play for.
Absolutely.
And to lose that game to Essendon is crazy.
Feels like they need the games on their terms a little bit.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%. Lewis asked you a question here, Jesse. Back up a little bit.
G'day, Lewis.
Lewis says, Jesse, can West Coast Eagles try for both Alex Davies and Ed Allen? Then our midfield is sorted, question mark.
Well, I don't know about sorted.
Sorted feels...
like reinforced, but not sorted. I think Ed Allen would come in primarily as a defensive player. So you're upgrading... I don't even know if it's a Hutchinson. Hutchinson's more that defensive forward now. Hoff kind of pushes up to tag sometimes in the midfield, or there's Jack Graham. It's if you're upgrading at all, it's not by much. Alex Davies as a clearance winner, I'm not against picking him up.
I think you'd only, like long term though, like it'd be, I think Davies, Allen are probably like either or players, aren't they?
Sorry, Davies and Allen.
If you got them in.
Yeah.
Like they're not, you're probably not going to be running too many of those guys.
Well, you'd run one as the first possession midfielder and you'd run the other one as a tagger. So they can technically both fit. But now, like Ollie Franco's made a pretty promising start. I don't know if
I think Reed's just your first possession guy.
Yeah. Franco's pretty solid. Like I think the intention of Franco is to release Reed. So as he gets better and more experienced, they'll work symbiotically. But to answer the question, what will sort the midfield will be a role goal midfielder at pick 5 and then Chad Warner in 2027.
Yeah.
That's what will complete the
Not many
midfield.
people ever said, we just need Ed Allen. And the midfield's sweet.
Yeah.
Right. So
But in terms of maybe like talking about competing next year, to a greater extent, then those guys are ready-made options.
And Lewis makes a good point in that, like, when you say that, if there was one part of West Coast's team that actually is almost like at that point of completion, I would say it is the midfield.
Yeah.
Like your team overall is not complete.
No.
But it's the midfield's getting close to saying like we get a Chad Warner in there in 2027, then it's probably a tick.
Absolutely. Mason's just asked who's my favourite for the pick for West Coast. We've just done a bunch of videos discussing a variety of things, including that. I will just sharp say is Archie Butler is kind of the guy I'm hoping we get.
Okay, he's exactly what you need, I think. The Cohenil says, CDT could look at Curtin's role at the Crows and try to replicate it, Jesse.
Yeah, how would you differentiate those guys? In my head, they're different, but I don't have the language.
Yeah, I think like one thing that's to note about Curtin's, and this is more of a development thing more than anything, but like Curtin was that sort of intercept defender at junior level, and I think that probably helped him a lot with wing roles because there's a lot of like handing over, reading the play. Like sometimes you've got to push back really, really hard. And you've got to do that intercepting and that sweeping kind of role and be like an extra, and then you've got to get forward. And you can be, I suppose it's a bit more free when you go forward, but when you get back, you've got to be really disciplined. So he probably got that from being a defender, whereas Cooper Duff-Tytler hasn't done that.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure how seamlessly he would fit into that role, but I think if you look at them attributally, they're both like really slick at ground level.
Yeah.
They've both got really good skills, and I think Cooper Duff-Tytler could be that with development, but he'd need to play it a bit, I think.
He doesn't quite have the mature body that a Curtin came into the league with.
Exactly.
Curtin looked like a man at 18.
Yeah, he had that like specimen sort of a body, whereas like Duff-Tytler's a bit more kiddie.
He looks like a high school basketballer or maybe a bit more advanced than that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With just scope.
Yeah.
Yes.
Future key position defender in the All-Australian team.
Future key position defender in the All-Australian team, 100%. I don't know if you read. Did you read the one from Wilbur, the pair saying, does Richmond even more come into calculation for Butters? I think you did. We sort of covered that, didn't we?
Do they come into it more as a result of having the higher pick? No, I think their focus with Zach Butters is getting him to say yes. Everything else will sort itself out. Whether it's pick 1 or pick 2, they would then successfully get Zach Butters if Butters decides on them. But that's a big if.
Yeah, okay. Dave the Dasher 77 says, no way in hell Archie Butler will be there at West Coast's pick.
I'll leave that one with you.
Well, I don't think it's fair to say no way in hell. Archie Butler is absolutely in the mix for pick 1.
Yes.
So let's get that straight. So I don't think he's a lock to go pick 1.
No. So
I think Van Haddam, Teixeira and Butler are on somewhat of an even playing field at this point.
Yeah.
I think there'll be a temptation to take it Teixeira or Butler because of the fact that they're ready-made more so than Van Haddam, who's going to need that development into the AFL. But they're all in the mix. So, yeah, I'm not saying that he is definitely going to be at West Coast's pick. That will be the furthest he'll get.
Yeah.
That's him on like the outer rubber band.
Yeah, if he slides past that amount, that pick on draft night, you'd have to think there's something non-football related, which I'm not at all suggesting that's true. But from a talent point of view, you're like, of course he's top 5.
Yeah.
Noah Hibbins-Hargreaves last year was not to the same level, but he was considered first round. So when he slid, we're like, this isn't a football thing, surely.
Give me like a take. Like who could you see anyone like being that guy that just slides and?
No, I don't
it's too
think
early
I could.
to tell.
Yeah, I don't think I could offer that right now.
Yeah.
But there have been some guys who were considered first round that miss. I mean, Ollie Greaves missed the national draft last year.
Yeah.
I think back to Matthew Panos in 2009.
Oh, Panos, yes.
Top 15 pick who slid to the rookie draft.
The Macedonian Marvel. I don't know. I was going to say make some Greek joke, but that's a Greek name, right? Panos?
Yeah, it might be. Yeah.
Panos, yeah. I think so. In other news, Jesse, Bobby Hill has departed or is likely to depart the Collingwood Football Club.
Huge.
News coming out of the magpie nest. That's a thing people
It
say.
worked. Yeah, it worked. Huge, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess we'd sort of had a lot of foreshadowing of this, I suppose. It's not completely out of the blue. I remember reading a few weeks back that Collingwood had given him some goals to work through. And
I thought those were positive things, though. I thought at that point when they were saying that and he'd been into the club, I thought that all sounded positive.
yeah, to me, it's read a little bit more ultimatum-y.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know how much at the time it was suggested that Bobby Hill was really forthcoming with that process. There's so much that we can try and speculate on here, but I don't know the details. But it's a huge loss from a list talent profile point of view. Like that's the sort of player that Collingwood would have been hoping would tie them over. And if it's reached this point, they're not even going to get anything in a trade at this point. It's just a huge L.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. You kind of like, there was always, over the last 2 seasons, there was something in the back of my mind that if Bobby Hill came back somehow and hit the heights that he did in 2023, I was like, Collingwood could probably still do something here if he was fit and firing. It was a big if, but like there was...
I know what you mean, big variable.
Yeah, 100%. And the other news, the last piece of news is that Ken Hinkley has been named as the inaugural Tasmanian coach.
Huge. Huge. That's my analysis. Next segment. I feel like I've dropped a few huges tonight.
Huge.
I get stuck on a word sometimes and I'll just use it.
Who doesn't?
I've been using extrapolate a lot lately. Someone pick me up for that. Let's stop huge before it gets too far. I thought this was huge. So I guess the difference between Hinkley and some of the other more fancy candidates was the context of when he took Port Adelaide over and took them from basket case to prominence really quickly.
Do you remember, I think we kind of all know vaguely the story that, Port were on their knees. He came in and he sort of rocketed them up to a prelim final.
Yep.
They fell short. I think they lost to Hawthorn by under a kick
Yep.
in that prelim final. So he just got them back connected and competing really, really quickly. Do you remember that time of what Port Adelaide, the shit sandwich that they were in?
Yeah, I remember the days of John Butcher.
That's a good name.
Yeah. I think of them getting rolled by 150 points at the G to Melbourne. To Hawthorn, sorry.
He wasn't even a professional player. He worked at the meat factory.
Yeah, designing the meat catalogues that they sell. That's a Peep Show reference.
Yeah, I got it.
I was explaining for the audience who didn't know. I do remember that era. I do remember the prelim. I remember I was working at a pub that night and watching it over the shoulders of the people I was serving beers to. It was scintillating. I remember Chad Wingard being a big player that year. I don't know if that was the Monfries era as well.
I reckon.
Early Port Adelaide, not sure. In any case, with Ken Hinkley, I suppose that's the thing he would have over a Longmire or a Buckley. Remember, Buckley was supposed to be in the mix for this. You know what, though? I think for an expansion club, regardless of who you think is the biggest name there, I think the first-time coach doesn't need to be that.
They don't have to be the success guy, right?
Yeah.
They've got to be the glue guy.
They've got to be the educator guy, the glue guy, as you say, and someone who can build foundations.
Yeah.
Not saying that isn't Buckley or Longmire. John Longmire. But again, I don't think it's, let's say maybe not a Sam Mitchell, but a Chris Fagan was available. I don't think by default Chris Fagan is the best choice for that, purely because he's got the resume of the success.
Yeah, I actually think Sam Mitchell is a better
comparison.
Sam Mitchell. Yeah, I know. You sort of said that off the top. As in he's Sam Mitchell feels like that real, Kane Corns named him the genius. He's a bit more of that technical kind of coach.
Yeah.
I think you need that guy to win flags. You need the Ken Hinkley to build culture. So that's what he will do for a young club, and he'll, connect the different demographics and all of those sorts of things. So I think it's a big one. Are you surprised that Buckley, I kind of thought that when Buckley got sent to Geelong to work under Chris Scott, that was sort of Tasmania almost gave him an ultimatum and said you go here, you work under Chris Scott for a season, and the job's yours. That was my understanding.
I thought the same thing. Plus, when he turned down the Melbourne role.
Yeah, so there's a tweet here from Emlyn Barise. I probably butchered that, but it says, losing the D's job because you're keeping your Tassie options open, with the teeth clattering emoji
Yeah, I watched the interview at the time. It was on the couch, I reckon. He explicitly said that he was very interested in the Tasmania job. So
yeah,
I did kind of think at that point he'd probably been given some indication.
That's what I thought too. Yeah, exactly.
But evidently not. His situation could have changed as well. Who knows? But a little bit of a surprise to me that Ken Hinkley was the one. But it kind of opens the door up now for Essendon to target one of those guys. Whether it's a Buckley, whether it's a Longmire.
Who would you go for if you were the Essendon Football Club right now? Yeah. And we'll we'll remove the James Hird thing.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that for a second. A lot of rumours that he's got the job now. Let's remove that. I'd say the same logic applies with the Tasmania criteria. You're looking for a guy who can build a culture.
Yeah. So Longmire then.
I mean, there's no reason to suggest Longmire can't do it. He hasn't necessarily done that. He took over a good list, won a flag in 12. And I don't mean to discredit him with that, but let's be real. Sydney were never a bad side at that time.
No.
He did refresh the list entirely and go again and make multiple grand finals. So there is a history of taking an older group, transitioning it. And I don't know, there's very few coaches who have successfully gone through the peak and the trough.
Yeah.
Right? And then come back.
Going again is that hard bit for motivation, right?
I do wonder if any of that suggests he'd be great for Essendon right now. You also factor in he's 15 years older than he was when he took over. So.
That's the other thing too. And there was some, I don't know how factual this is, but there was some sort of aspersion that Longmire wasn't necessarily fully in. He played a little bit hard to get with the Tassie job.
Okay.
And that kind of went against him in the end. But
they also talk about a guy who stepped down.
Exactly,
I suppose Hinkley did too, didn't he?
Was burnt out sort of thing.
But Hinkley did the same thing, right?
Yeah, I do think they were different circumstances though, because when you think about Sydney weren't really bottomed out or anything. They had that shitty season in 25, right?
24 was when he stepped down because Cox was coach in 25.
Oh, sorry, yeah. So
it was the grand final.
He stepped down straight off a grand final appearance. Yeah. So
I suppose it is different.
There wasn't real whereas Ken Hinkley, there were the fans were kind of banging the door down. They wanted some change.
They were doing that from pretty early on.
The Port fans are hard to please. But
it's like Adelaide fans and Knicks.
Yeah.
It's the same.
Yeah, it's that. I mean, it's probably that two club town thing. That Sydney. I mean, Sydney is a two club town technically, but nobody cares about football.
Yeah.
whereas they do in Adelaide, right?
That's right.
So it's a bit of a difference.
We do have a super chat.
We better get to the super chat.
I'll leave this question for you. JSEP94, thank you so much for the super chat. He says, who is the best medium to small lockdown defender in this draft? Bit of a niche question because these guys don't normally go early, do they?
They can if they're offensive as well.
Yeah.
I would say it's Darcy Surson.
Okay. Yeah.
Darcy Surson.
Top 15 kind of range.
Yeah. I would put Imey's probably on the same level and as a ball carrier and offensive player, probably the same or better.
Mm-hmm.
Sherson's actually can defend as well.
The man they call Google.
What was that?
Google searching.
Oh yeah, you've said that one before.
Thanks, man.
That wasn't funny that time either.
Cool. I'm just trying to get to the comments here.
You're doing a good job.
Thanks. Yeah, there was a comment that I missed that I wanted to actually deal with. Okay, Andrew says, does Butters sign a 1-year contract and follow Ken to Tassie? This would never happen just because it's so against his best interest to sign a 1-year deal at the peak of his powers, right?
Yeah.
He's going to... also, he wants to get home.
I was going to say, I also think it's... Yeah, that's the whole reason he's moving, right?
He's going to move to Tassie.
Yeah. But I think people get connected to these little narratives that because wherever Ken Hinkley goes now, Zach Butters is going to go, as if Zach Butters as a person can't go. He basically can't live without Ken Hinkley because he's been his dad at the football club for this entire time. I think, isn't that just the perfect opportunity for them to go their separate ways?
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's no chance he follows him.
No chance.
No chance.
Yeah. No. But even, I remember wasn't this said about Carlton when Hinkley was linked to that job? And they said he'll go there. Or was it Collingwood even maybe? No, not Collingwood because he wouldn't have been linked to.
I'm not sure.
Jeez, I can't remember now. There was another linking of Ken Hinkley before he got the Tasmania job, and it was Butters will go there to be with Ken Hinkley as if they're like completely inseparable.
Yeah.
And Butters is only leaving Port Adelaide because Hinkley's gone now.
Ken Linkley.
Yes.
Shadowlight says they haven't won the fact that Hinkley hasn't won a premiership bodes well for a hungry coach perspective. That's true. It'll draw. I think I read that he sort of made that part of his pitch was to the fact that he is hungry for a premiership having not won one. So he turned it into an incentive. You know what I mean?
That's a good, actually. Yeah, that's brilliant.
That's good, isn't it?
Actually,
Might use that in a job interview.
It's a good thing. Yeah, it's like the LinkedIn thing, like making up some bullshit that you like. It's probably, if anything, that makes me even more hungry to win one that I haven't. Like he's like, look at Clarko. He shit the bed.
That's true.
Yeah. C 6910 says, Jesse, do you think West Coast are a serious chance against Collingwood this time at Optus Stadium?
I feel like Collingwood are playing better footy over the last 4 or 5 weeks, at least from the eye test.
I feel like they're getting they're playing solid football, and then Dacos goes ballistic.
Well, that's true. That being said, we've actually probably playing the best footy we have in a long time. We matched it with them at the MCG. I absolutely think it could be a close game. But then I just think Collingwood manage those games so well. If it's a close game, do we win?
They just win, don't they?
Yeah. But we're a genuine chance, I'd say. You'd have to say we're a genuine chance.
Do you get scared, though, as a West Coast fan, too, that, like, as well as you're playing at the moment, there's a shit sandwich. I know I've used shit sandwich as a term twice now in the pod, but there's one just waiting around the corner for you.
Yeah. But the longer this streak goes on of competitive performances, the more that's starting to fade. But yeah, absolutely.
You just said, to quote
Nothing.
you from last week, you just said nothing.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
So yes, is the answer.
I think it would be really surprising if it happened again, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I suppose
But still very plausible.
we play a very contested, grueling style. We push deep into games. If there's a week we just don't get shown up and obliterated, say the Derby this week off a 6-day break,
That's true.
I suppose you could say, well, we should have seen that coming a little bit.
Yeah.
But there's been enough of a body of work now where if it did happen, it wouldn't be as alarming as it when it happened in round 4 and 7 or whatever it was.
Yeah, I think I agree with you there. That all checks out. Logic. Trevor Bauer says, as a Crows fan, my major issue with Nicks has been his inability to adapt on the run during a game. He definitely took what you said before personal there, this guy. On the run during a game. And we have to move on from Van Berlo and Scott Burns at the end of the season. Okay,
Former West Coast coaches too.
Yeah, so inability to adapt in game. I think, I would probably agree with that. I think there's like a rigidity to the way that Nicks plays. Like he's got that very contest to contest kind of game style long down the line. The players suit it though, in fairness to him. Like really, unless you get sort of like you're not with that group of players that you've got at Adelaide, like you're not going to play this real freewheeling game style off the half back line, are you?
No.
Because you're basically like Miller or bust back there.
I mean, they're kind of getting results.
They're a good solid team. I think like the worst thing that you could say about Adelaide is you don't really know how they're going to like breach that next bunch of teams that are just sort of clearly better than them.
Well, Zach Bailey was going to be part of the solution, I'd imagine. I don't know if that's going to still happen. But yeah, you'd think a big fish would be one thing to elevate them.
Yeah, 100%.
But they've done a great... we should probably leave it for the actual show. But I was going to say, they've done a great job of like unearthing, much like Port Adelaide, unearthing these guys this year who've given them opportunity and they get better.
Yeah. We should do a deep dive into that to see where some of these guys, like what Port Adelaide have done with their... Like they've been shit talked a lot, including from us. But they've got... A lot of these guys are starting to blossom now. And it'd be interesting to know like where they all came from and like what Port Adelaide and Adelaide are doing from a recruiting perspective to get some of these like lesser known players to become like not necessarily superstars, but to become really good AFL players. Like, is it the SANFL that they're finding them, or are they kind of going to like all parts of Australia?
That's a good question. Yeah. I generally think it does correlate with like good system teams.
Yeah.
With the power, they're a bit of a blank canvas with so much turnover. So it's hard to put it down to like Josh Carr being a tactical genius on its own. I think he's a very good coach, but like I'm not sure that he's just making them look good.
No.
It's hard to tell. Like there must be some legitimate good footballers in there. And we'll talk about them when we watch Port. I was very impressed with Port this week.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll get into the games now. Jesse, a little housekeeping from you.
Yep, let's talk housekeeping. Bets.com.au provide game previews and predictions that are statistically and analytically driven, completely free, and also let you know which Aussie bookmakers are providing the best odds on the selected markets.
Beautiful, beautiful, Jesse. And we get into the first game. We go way back in time to Thursday night. Geelong defeated the St Kilda Saints 102-75. Now, this game, it was sort of weird how it unfolded with, like, not the lead changes, but Geelong got away to, like, a really, really big start here. They were up 50-14 just before halftime, 15 scoring shots to 4 at that point. And then the Saints sort of started to come back, and there was this moment in the game in the third quarter where it was Sharman, I think. He was, like, running into the 50. He could have, like... He basically had like a straight line to goal if he had kept running. He kicked it from about 45 and just sort of skidded it across the face. And that would have got the margin back to 11 points at a crucial part of the game. Geelong just went back up the other end, slammed through a goal, got it to 17 points. Why are you laughing?
No, I'm not.
Did I say something?
No.
Okay. Got it back to 17 points, and that was sort of it. Then Geelong like crushed them from there. And then Saints kind of came back a bit at the end to make the margin look a little bit better, but it was really over. There wasn't, other than that brief point where Sharman could have got them back to 11 points, I feel like they weren't really in it.
Yeah, that's true. That's what sort of good teams do, don't they? They punish you when you miss your opportunities.
Yeah.
St Kilda's pressure was interesting in this game. So they actually brought it in a big way. They out-tackled Geelong by 29. So they're ranked number 4 for tackle differential across the league, so that's not completely new.
Okay.
But 81-52. But as you pointed out there, the turnover game is where Geelong torched them.
Well, I think this is the thing with St Kilda in 2026. So, like, St Kilda have been a high transition team under Ross Lyon. So this iteration of them is completely revolved around transition. And we talk a lot about the West Coast Eagles, right? How you guys have like basically started from the contest. Whereas I think St Kilda, and very different stages, and this is the reason for it, St Kilda had a lot of those silky halfback flankers. So they made a game style that was very transition-y, but they couldn't really compete in the midfield. I think 2026 has been ground zero of like, we're going to get it back. We're going to try and compete better in contested football around the ground. We're going to try and compete better in clearances, and we're going to try and bring the pressure even. And they still tried to do that before, to be fair, but they're really going to bring that to try to compete from a midfield perspective. So this game is somewhat not a traditional St Kilda game in the sense that they got smacked on transition, but they actually probably broke even in the contest.
Yeah.
And they probably outscored Geelong from clearances.
So contested possessions were tied, and I think the Saints were actually +2 in clearance as well. But scores from turnover 68-33.
And what were the scores from clearance? I've got 35-28 St Kilda's way.
Gotcha. I didn't actually write that one down. I had 67-41 forward half chains as well.
Yeah.
For Geelong's
well,
favour.
the issue that St Kilda had in this game was, although they brought the pressure around the footy, they weren't able to stop Geelong's uncontested marking game.
Yeah.
So they just couldn't get the ball off them.
Yeah, -38 marks.
Yep. And the intercept game too.
Yeah.
So, like as you said, I think it was 68-33 from intercept possessions. Jai Clark from halfback had 12. Tom Stewart had 8, and Jack Henry had 7.
Another one though, like where I feel like both teams walk away feeling like they lost, and not because Geelong did much.
Geelong fans are going to love that.
Max Holmes. That's what I'm referring to.
Oh, okay.
You lose Jeremy Cameron one week, and Max Holmes, I think, is in
I
doubt.
thought you were just going to say they just played really shit.
No, I think St Kilda is a bogey side for them.
Yeah, they are.
So I think any 4 points in this scenario is
Can
good.
I throw one back at you there though?
Is it going to rhyme with Brian Giles?
Messi. Gromeiss, 3 goals, 12 score involvements.
Yeah.
The GOAT is back.
Massive. What's the deal? Maybe I didn't follow that situation closely. What was the deal with him playing in the VFL? Was it conditioning?
I don't know 100%.
Yeah.
But he tore his ACL. So he has a partially torn ACL.
Yeah.
He came back to the AFL first.
Yeah.
Which is maybe a little bit bizarre. He didn't seem to have be playing with the same movement and energy. They moved him back to the VFL. Whether it was conditioning, whether it was form,
It's got to be, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, maybe they know what they're doing because he came in and played really well.
Maybe Geelong do know what they're doing, Jesse. Yeah,
but
exactly.
I think Cameron and Holmes out. And to my understanding, Holmes' injury is quite serious. I don't think he's back anytime soon. that doesn't quite mitigate or Myers in doesn't really mitigate that enough. I think they're not part of the premiership pie.
The Cats.
As per David King.
Well,
David King's been running with the premiership pie chart. I'm not even having Geelong in that.
They're not. If they don't have Holmes and they don't have Cameron, they're definitely not.
Yeah.
Like they all have to be there.
Yeah.
What is interesting with Geelong is how much they're just sort of ticking over the list a little bit as well, though. Like Polkinghorne has emerged this year. Like he played his first game at the weekend. He looked really, really good.
Yeah.
Another one of those like medium type players that just plays their first game and looks great. Did you see when he was just playing on Wilkie in this game and just bench pressed him?
No, I didn't see that.
Like he's like 21 or something, and he just destroyed Wilkie in a couple of like big contests.
Wow.
You've got Edwards playing in the ruck, which is again, it's happening a little bit by stealth. You're not really noticing that, but they're kind of changing the ruck situation. And the other one is who is the other one? Wiltshire.
Yeah.
Wiltshire, who's played a little bit this season as well. And then through trade and free agency, like they got Warple last year as well.
Yeah.
So he came into this game, I think he had 7 or 8 clearances as well. So they just like, I don't know, they just do like some sneaky little moves to get players in.
It's a bit of a Grind Myers to Carlton rumour at the moment as well.
Interesting.
So I don't know how much of that is real. And I think part of that just comes from a cognitive bias of thinking Geelong don't lose players like that. But I think it came from the fact that he's out of the team and there was a suggestion that he'd be looked at.
Do you think... Yeah, I probably. So there's probably not that much truth to it. But like, I also think Geelong are kind of the masters at those situations happening. And like, they've obviously won a premiership with a Grind Myers. And just being able to move him at the right time from a club business sort of perspective of like, what could you get for Grind Myers? Like if you could get a first round draft pick, would that actually not be the worst decision to actually...
From Geelong's point of view?
Yeah.
No, I don't think you'd do that. I think they're a team in contention, continuing to be in contention. They're, ignoring the fact that Carlton couldn't give them one.
What would like just hear me out here? Back in the Tim Kelly situation, did they win that trade?
Well, they flipped it for Jeremy Cameron, so yes.
Yeah, I'm just saying from that perspective, like yes, Grind Myers is a gun player, but he's also like he'd be late 20s, nearly pushing 30, wouldn't he?
2017 draft.
Okay, no, he's not as old as I thought he was then.
No, he's...
I was thinking he was like 28.
Nah, he is born in 99, so 2017 draft, yep.
Yeah, okay. So what does that make him, 27?
27, yeah.
27.
Yep. No, I don't think you shop around.
Let us know in the chat. Could you lose Myers
to them?
He is important, like no doubt, but I don't know. Like so's Ben King to the Gold Coast Suns, but you could probably still afford to lose him for the right price, right? Probably Gold Coast is a bad example there because I don't think they want to lose players, but like there is a world where you could get somebody back that is better.
Yeah, potentially. I think the Cats would likely dig their claws in as well, and I think they would have done the same thing with Tim Kelly had he not been so desperate to get home.
Yeah, that's true. 100%.
Shadowlight says, what if it got you Zach Butters or Darcy Wilson at worst? Well, yeah, that's a little bit different. If it was what's the word? Flow-on effect where it unlocks Zach Butters, yeah, that
But it will have a flow-on effect. Like it always has when you unlock a player like that.
Yeah, but let's like top 15 pick, let's say, on its own versus being the piece to get Zach Butters. I think that those are different situations.
But it could be the pick that gets Zach Butters, right?
Potentially, yeah, it could. That's what I'm saying. If they've got a yes from Zach Butters,
I feel like we've got into this like back and forth where it's like it could be good, but it also might not be. Like
we're saying nothing again.
Yeah,
we're saying nothing. Yeah. Logan Costa, actually, member of the channel, says Saints competed well in the middle, but got smashed in the hitouts despite Marshall looking really good. What the mix looks like with TDK back is hard to say, but something that improves us.
Yeah, we've had a little bit, like we did some videos this week, particularly from a trade perspective. We were talking about the Rowan Marshall situation. Do you think when they have a fit and firing De Koning, they need Marshall, the Saints?
Marshall has been better this year of the two.
He has.
Do they need him? No, I think from a list profile point of view, you could make the case that offloading him allows them to get back in the market for some other other players to keep building their list. At the moment, there's a bit of a perception they're going to have a hard time like entering something like a Zach Butters case, right? Like they're completely priced out of that, right? It'll be interesting to see in 12 months, though, if Naz resigns. He's out of contract in the next year.
Yeah. They also need to be closer to Bacchus Marsh for Butters to go there too.
Clearly.
That is a big problem.
Yeah.
He cannot get to the southern part of Melbourne. It's not possible.
But yeah, I think the Rowan Marshall and Graham Myers, different scenarios, right? Like Geelong are realistically competing for a flag next year.
Yeah.
Whereas St Kilda are a bit further back from that. So the opportunity cost there of like losing a Rowan Marshall, I don't think it hurts them as immediately.
Yeah. I was just looking at it from the perspective that like Graham Myers could be one of those players that you know, he bungs his knee. It's not like there's probably some recovery that's needed there. And there's a club like Carlton who have lacked those small forward and connecting type players might just overpay for him.
Yeah, maybe.
Like that's, you know what I mean? And then Geelong, who already have this like really good base list, can kind of go, well, we might just flip him and turn the list over a little bit.
Yeah.
It's just something that they would sort of do quite well. I had a question for you and this is on Rowan Marshall, because he was playing against Geelong, who was the club that he was sort of linked to and wanted to get to last season. Would Geelong be in top 4 mix if they had Marshall over Edwards right now? A more experienced ruckman?
Not right now. No. But I think in theory they're in the top 4 mix without him as it stands. Like, so right now they're not, but are they a top 4 caliber team? Yes. So regardless of whether they get Marshall, I put them in the top 4 next year. But if Rowan Marshall had played season 2026 at Geelong right now, I'm not sure.
So what's the forces that mean that they're not in the top 4 right now?
That's a good question. I think
Injuries
definitely been a factor, but more so of late.
Hangovers.
I need to look through their season.
Hangovers.
That's a question without notice.
Yeah, sorry.
What are their worst performances this year? So they lost 5 of the 6. They lost to Carlton.
It's been recently.
Yeah, they lost to Carlton. They lost to Fremantle. They lost Easter Monday to Hawthorn pretty early. Those aren't horrible losses.
It felt a bit like they lost to some really good teams at the beginning. There was a Brisbane loss in there. We streamed a game against Brisbane, I want to say.
Yeah, that was a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah. So like there were losses to good teams, close losses, and then it sort of like almost picked up momentum, the fact that they were losing. And then they run into Carlton, who were sort of on the up, a bit of a bogey team.
Yeah.
They lose to them. And then it's like, and then they lost to the Giants.
Yep.
So the Carlton and the Giants loss were sort of like.
Freo's in there too.
Yeah, but they're a good team, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of.
Both they've got a few bogey sides actually. The Giants, St Kilda, and Carlton.
That sounds like an argument that a North Melbourne fan would use. Like, yeah, they're a bogey side.
Yeah, we have a few as well.
We have a few of those.
Interesting.
Yeah, interesting.
They lost to Port. That's a good one.
Yeah,
Lemon
exactly. Yeah, that was probably their worst loss of the season. Shadowlight says, having Marshall certainly wouldn't hurt the Cats' chances. Yeah, I sort of agree. Like, clearly when you're playing like a young ruckman, it's going to weigh you down to some degree. But I sort of agree with you in the sense that like they just haven't. There's probably been some other things too. They're in that age profile where everything kind of has to go right, and if you start getting injuries to like Jeremy Cameron, it's over.
Yeah,
they're on the what do you call that? Like they're on the tightrope kind of thing. It's small margins.
Yeah, true. Point out that they did try pretty hard to get Rowan Marshall last year, so I guess they're aware of that deficiency.
Not hard enough, Jesse.
Clearly. By the way, we have just ticked over 600 members on the truefooty.com.au website. So thank you so much who have joined. Those memberships span from free memberships and then there's some paid memberships as well that you can check out. We've just built a brand new trade simulator. This has gone gangbusters.
The tradies.
Gangbusters.
The tradies? That's a
Yeah.
podcast. Why did I say that?
So if you go to the website and hit games and tools, you'll find the trade simulator. For premium members, you can simulate a whole off season too.
It's very fun.
Yeah, I showed you before. Go check it out.
Absolutely. We will move on to the next game, which was Sydney and Adelaide on Friday night. This was a good game. Sydney lose 71-87. It was wet weather football. It was very contested. And as soon as I saw that rain in this game, it did make me lean a little bit to the Crows because I feel like they just have that. They lack a little bit in the transition side of the game, but if they want to get their hands dirty and fight around the ground, they've just got those players, don't they? Like your Ben Keys, your Alex Neil-Borland, your Pete Ling, your Saligo, these guys that just want to fight in the trenches for the contested ball. And they did that, and they beat the Swans.
Over the course of the season, the Crows are actually bottom 4 for clearance and number 12 for centre clearance, but they won by total clearances in this game by 13. So they kind of flipped something that was genuinely a weakness.
Yeah, right. They're a big CP side though, right?
Yeah, they were plus 17 in this game. I don't know where they rank in the comp for that. Ground ball was plus 6, plus 13 clearance, as I said. Post clearance contested possessions plus 21.
That's where they thrive.
Yeah,
it's that Freo game. You go long to Thilthorpe, or other key tool, and then the Neil Borlands, the Keys, the Rankins, the Rochellis get to work.
Yeah, absolutely. I tipped the Crows, actually. Got my tip right here.
Got your tip right.
Yeah, they beat them by 90 this time last year.
Did they really?
Yeah. It was one of the games, for the first game we streamed.
Was it?
Yes. That was the beginning of this bromance.
Yes.
But that wasn't necessarily why, but they don't mind the SCG. But yeah, I tipped Crom. And then we'll get to it later, but Eagles did him a bit of a favour in the other game, keeping the percentage tight, because the Adelaide v Brisbane percentage battle right now is fascinating.
Do you think there's any chance that the Crows could get the Lions? Mow them down?
Finish higher, you mean? Or yeah, but that's going to come entirely down to the fixture, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. But yeah, absolutely, I do.
Yeah, it was another one of it was like a funny topsy-turvy game. So Crows led by 21 at quarter time. So it was 41-20. Yep. And then they only kicked 2 goals across the next 2 quarters. So quarter 2, quarter 3, 1 goal in each of those. They trailed by 6 at 3/4 time. You're kind of thinking they were sort of basically treading water. They were going nowhere for those middle quarters. And then they just lit up in the last one. They kicked 5 goals. You had some big contested marks from Thilthorpe.
Yep.
Darcy Fogarty got to work, kick 3 goals. And
those 2 were pretty big in the result, I'd say.
They were very, very big.
Yeah.
Very, very big. I mean, I actually think if you look at the game, like it was a pretty even game. Mm-hmm. You mentioned that they won the contest.
I think they lost expected score.
I think they lost expected
Less
score.
Less inside 50s.
And if you actually look at like the goal kicking in this game that I have here somewhere, where is it? So Tom Papley, 10 shots at goal in this game, and he kicked 4 goals.
Wow.
10 shots at goal. You have a look at Fogarty. Fogarty had 5 shots and kicked 4 goals.
Yeah, that's crazy. 13 goals, 9 they kicked in those conditions. Being clinical makes a huge difference. I feel like that was a trend against us as well, now I think about it. But we know Adelaide's forward line is pretty
when you think about
potent.
It, like Fogarty, one of the best set shots in the comp. Taylor Walker, one of the best set shots in the comp. I reckon Rochelli is a great set shot and just a really highly skilled player, right? So he's going to kick those. And Thilthorpe's pretty good as well.
Yeah.
He's probably had times where he's like had the yips or whatever, but I think most of the time he's good too. So they've got those. If they can rack up the marks inside forward 50, like they're going to win a lot of games.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's a huge... it's also the Swans don't really have that kind of defender for a Thilthorpe. You know, he's a difficult matchup for them.
Where do we see the Swans now? Well, we've kind of, I don't know, almost like predicted their demise for the last few weeks, I feel.
Yeah.
It just doesn't feel right, does it?
No, it doesn't. I mean, I've been off them. I tipped Adelaide in this game. I think Adelaide is currently a better side. I think back to 24, though, where they lost us all and they still made the grand final.
Yeah.
So they're a sniff. But then they've got to go over the next
what happened
hurdle.
In that grand final?
Exactly, that's the next hurdle.
Yeah.
But there are barriers to having confidence in Sydney right now.
I almost have a concern with this, though, where, like, I'm just looking up the ladder there.
I thought you were looking at the scuff.
Yeah, no, the ladder. Like you said, if you go back to 2024, were they actually the second best team in the comp when the finals came around? Like, they got there because of their ladder position and the fact that they got home finals and stuff. But are they almost sitting like on that Formula One grid? They're in first, but they've got a slow car and nobody can get around them, and they make the grand final, but then they give us a shitty grand final, if that makes sense.
I'm trying to remember who they beat in week 1. They beat Port in the prelim, and they beat someone in week 1 that I forget. But I do think Geelong were probably the better team. That prelim between Geelong and Brisbane was unreal.
That's right. Yeah. So I worry with this. Like, I'd almost rather that they dropped out of the 4. Like, if you're not going to fucking win the grand final, you can fuck off.
I think it's a 2-horse race. Freo ahead of Brisbane in the premiership pie. That's my
Freo
order.
ahead of Brisbane in the premiership pie.
And then I give Hawthorn a sniff.
I'm the same.
And I reckon that's it.
Lecrom?
Nah, they're an also ran. But, I mean, that's okay. They're a good team.
They're a good team.
I don't see them. The thing is, the barriers for Adelaide to win the premiership, as good as they actually are good. But if they finish 4th, they've got to play Fremantle in Perth in week 1. And then that, like, I can't see them beating a Fremantle or a Brisbane either at their home deck or at the MCG. I can't see them beating Hawthorn at the MCG.
No.
But in home finals, despite what happened last year, I would tip Adelaide against a lot of teams.
Yeah.
It's just that's the barrier. Whereas Fremantle, Brisbane beat anywhere, anytime. And Hawthorn have the MCG advantage.
They do have the MCG advantage and a very different style. Yeah, it's interesting. I'm with you. Like, Adelaide, for me, they're just like, they don't quite have that point of difference over those top 3.
Little side note here. I actually had this conversation with someone at work. If, let's say, Adelaide or Melbourne won the premiership from here, and they're good teams that are not like absolutely absurd calls, they could creep into the 4, they would be the most surprising premiers from this point in the season since Richmond in 17.
Adelaide?
Yeah. Adelaide and Melbourne, if you're going to put that sort of... Well, let's stay with Adelaide because I know you...
I think the Ds are like more likely. Like, they're more likely to go. The G, and they're just a little bit of a spontaneous team. Like, I think everybody knows what the Crows are right now.
Yeah.
I think teams are still working out what Melbourne are.
Fair. But either way, choose either of them. There hasn't been a more surprising premier in the last 10 years than it would be for Adelaide and Melbourne this deep into the season if they won the flag. Richmond in 17 was a bit of a surprise. They had that bias against them because of what happened in the final series, the club branding, I suppose, and what I mean.
But they would have had a higher finish, wouldn't they?
So they finished third.
They finished third.
But again, going off memory here, but no one considered them a real contender, like a genuine contender. But
I agree.
They ragdolled Geelong in the first final, and then you're like, oh, they're a real team.
Yeah.
So that is possible.
I 100% still remember getting to grand final day, and I'm like, Adelaide just win this. It's Richmond.
Yeah. But that qualifying final really made me stand up and take notice.
100%.
I literally stood up out of my chair.
Literally stood up out of his chair. Of course you did. We go to the next game, Jesse. We have Port Adelaide. This was an interesting game.
It was.
75 to 103. They lost to the Fremantle Dockers. Now, this was no Butters, no Jason Horne-Francis, no Rosie, no Georgiades. They did still lose, to be fair, but like they gave this a pretty good shout. 12 points up at halftime.
It's probably the most impressive performance this week for like a lower ranked team. I'd say it was the most impressive.
Oh, you've really gone out on a limb there.
Well, Essendon won.
Yeah, true.
West Coast played pretty well against Brisbane. Richmond got poleaxed. But out of that group, like Port Adelaide's loss to Fremantle by 28 points was the most impressive.
Yeah.
I thought. I watched that game.
You were telling me, you were giving me this big, because let's be real, we shat on Port Adelaide's list management.
From great heights.
Like, we killed them. We were like, this isn't going to, like, this is terrible. I think when you don't know names and you don't know who these guys are and they came from rookie drafts, SSP, mid-season drafts, it's hard to get particularly excited about a team. There's also the fact that they're about to lose Zach Butters. But when you actually consider the fact that, like, Dougie Cochran will come in, Pilot will come in, Salapak will come in the next couple of seasons as well.
Nasiah Wanganeen.
Maybe Nasiah Wanganeen.
Can you imagine how much of a game changer that is if they land all those players?
I know. So
they'd need to get rid of Georgiades to get these guys.
Well, they get those guys to come in, as well as like other draft picks that'll come in. And then you're like, they've got Whitlock and Berry who are from the draft. And then you look at guys like Zado and Lai.
He was good.
They look really, really exciting as well.
He nailed one from like 60 or 55 at the start of the game. And I was like, oh my God, this guy's good.
Yeah, I know.
Corey Durden. I think it's a sign of a well-coached team to to turn
when
like
a Durden's kicking a goal every game.
and at least like optimizing the game plans of these guys' strengths, because these guys like Joe Berry, admittedly a year older, but he looks so much better than he did last year.
Durden's developed. I've never heard of this in football, but like this kind of like you kick a goal every game. Like this is a new statistic that I like has kind of never existed. It's like the Jamie Vardy.
I was going to say Jamie Vardy. Yeah,
It's like the goal run.
Yeah,
he's gone like how many games without?
I don't know.
With kicking a goal or whatever.
Yeah.
Joe Richards.
Yeah. He's always been handy, I reckon.
What do you have like 35? Like went through the midfield and had like 35 in this game.
It's crazy. They were impressive, and I don't know if they were ever going to win this game, but shit, they looked damn good for a team with all their best players out.
Against the best team
in the competition. A ragtag team of misfits.
Ragtag.
I thought they were very impressive.
Very mighty Ducks.
Yeah. You feel there's a sense of confidence now with Port where you're like, if they actually get some high-profile players in, imagine how good Josh Carr can get them.
I have a Stankel Bank.
Yep.
4 Port Adelaide here.
Okay.
From Max Lawton from Fox Footy. I suspect nobody has ever been AFL Coach of the Year while their team also finished in the bottom 4, but Josh Carr is probably on the podium right now.
On the podium's interesting. Stephen King would be the most improved team.
So he said at the end that with King and Longmuir.
Yeah, so I was going to say, what's the criteria though?
Well,
is it just most improved team? Because that's the way it seems to go.
No, I think the best coach should be who has got the best out of their team.
Sure.
I think that's the real answer here. But that doesn't also mean that you just give it to the coach that does improve, you think that they were going to finish and the reality is with Josh Carr, we thought they were going to finish bottom 4 and they're in the bottom 4.
Mm-hmm.
So how much praise can it's good. Everything's going really well, but the outcome's not that great, is it?
No.
It sort of is in the big picture. It is.
I was going to say though, if you included Josh Carr as high, what is he doing that McQualter's not?
Yeah, well, he's not winning a lot of games.
Yeah, neither of them are.
I just think the performances are impressive, but they are from McQualter as well.
But West Coast is coming from further back than Port. No one even all the shitting on Port earlier in the year.
I'll tell you what the distinction.
Everyone thought they finished higher than West Coast.
I know. The distinction would be, and I think this is the answer. He's just new. Yeah. Okay. He's new.
Yeah.
So it feels more impressive that he's getting this out of them quickly.
Yes.
Whereas McQualter's this is his second year.
Yeah.
So he's just had a little bit longer with the team. I think that's what it would be.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I don't think you can give that award to somebody or usurp one of the top coach like a Longmuir. I think King is right up there to challenge that. But I think the pressure that was on Longmuir coming into the season and what he's been able to get this Freo, there's a long way to go still for him, but what he's done to get this Freo team, you couldn't give a bottom 4 coach.
Yeah.
You can literally give it to him. You could talk about him in the same conversation, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's not the same.
I just want to clarify, I wasn't trying to drag Carr down. I was trying to push McQualter actually closer to that conversation because I think the same sort of logic applies. On the giving it to a bottom 4 side, I think the problem with that is it makes it too subjective. It relies on the assumption that we, Port Adelaide, were dog shit.
Yeah.
Which at the moment is just a subjective view. But when you make it objective, 14-2 or whatever Fremantle are, not just based on wins and losses, but all the other contexts.
Well, it's extremely contextual, isn't it? Because I feel in a way Port Adelaide are getting the fact that Butters is going to leave is almost I think people think, and probably rightly so, you're also taking that into consideration. You're going, well, they've kind of got this shadow looming over the club and they're still doing well.
Yeah.
He hasn't been with, the captain's not there in Rosie.
Yeah.
So it's all part of it, right?
Yeah.
And then he's playing with this group of replacement players. It feels like from the rookie draft.
Yeah, so Keanu Reeves movie.
Keanu Reeves. I'm glad you got that reference. That was good. What was the one you had last week? I was actually going to watch it and I couldn't find it. Some college
Miscongeniality 2.
Miscongeniality 2. No.
Draft Day.
Nah. It was something with SHIT. There was an abbreviation, an acronym. Accepted.
Yeah, accepted.
Yeah, I was trying to.
Not a sports movie, but it's good.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. We've got 189 in the chat. Thank you guys for being with us. Michael Spickia says, to double down on that point, it's Josh Carr's second year. Last year just had Hinkley's name on the team sheet. Well, I mean...
Still new.
It's his first year as a coach, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, you want McQualter in there so bad. You'd do anything
I want
for
to.
McQualter.
He's not getting coach of the year, that's for sure. But yeah, I do like him. No, he's not getting coach of the year. I was just more drawing it into like a top 5. Then McQualter's also worth a mention.
In terms of Clarko too.
Yeah, I suppose you have
I'm
to.
joking.
No, but you have to look at the improvement there. I feel like West Coast McQualter's kind of dragged us from like the depths of hell up until like ground level now.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
You've seen that. Like you're not getting smacked.
No. I suppose to be fair, we did have a couple of horrific games in the first couple of months. To be fair, so it's only been really 8 weeks or whatever.
Is Dean Cox a shout? I sort of don't think he is.
Should he not be?
Like he's taken them from 10th to 2nd, but they weren't as bad as 10th.
No, they weren't. Yeah,
that was partially his fault.
Yeah. You'd go Longmuir.
I don't think you can purely base it on improvement. Like it needs to be more context in there. I think worst coach of the year, Hardwick.
Well, a couple got sacked, didn't they?
Yeah,
Voss
and but they're gone
Voss
now.
Clearly got to be one.
Yeah, Voss
and Scott. Okay, the ones left. Yeah, probably.
You've been sticking up for Voss all year, and now you're like, worst coach by a long
but
way.
like he stood down like before everything got better. So if you just isolate the year, it was horrific.
It was absolutely
right?
terrible.
Yeah.
I agree. North Melbourne played Melbourne, Jesse.
While you talk about this game, I'm going to the bathroom.
Okay. I'll
wait for me.
Do you want me to wait?
Yeah.
I'll just zoom through it. What do we got in the chat here? Sam Lawler, somebody says. He is a good player. Precise Path says, hey, Jesse, thoughts on Stark saying Eagles will make finals in 27? I can actually see it. Michael Spickier says, best coach is Stephen King. No. He is absolutely up there. I mean, it's King or Longmuir, isn't it? Like, you could look at that different ways. I think Longmuir came into the season with a ton of pressure on him. Like, there was like he's on. I think he's still on like sort of like a weird contract. Like there was definitely sort of a part of that where it didn't feel like the club fully had his back either. Like they weren't fully, I suppose, going all in on the fact that he was going to be the next premiership coach. And I think he's probably like he's been able to get this team to such a level. So I think it's hard not to give it to the team that's on top and doing that, right? Stephen King's probably, in a way, getting the best out of that group of players. Most people had Melbourne outside the top 10, so he'd definitely be in second position. But I'd probably still go Longmuir, I think. Longmuir, then King for me. What else are we saying here? Mr. Harrison Carnaby says, wave to toilet cam, Jesse. Exactly. Eli Uth? Oh, God, I can't read this. Eli Louth, 4497. Durden has been recruit of the year. He's been up there, hasn't he? He's been really good. As Jesse was saying, though, like it can be, like I reckon it is a bit on Josh Carr of like how much he's getting out of him as well. Rogue Riot says, yeah, but Melbourne also lost to Essendon. That's true. They did. But they're having a great season. Like, they're 6th on the ladder. They could still make top 4 at the moment, Melbourne. They've been absolutely incredible.
Just on that, I actually want to bring people's attention to the voting and polls you can do on the website with a free account. Yeah. So I've added, you can rate players. The top 10 players. Dacos has actually moved back to the top 2 now. After I think we talked about it last week, and he was 7th. Cal Wilkie's in the top 10, and if you've got an account on Truthfully, just head to the homepage and you can click it and you can vote. Paid members can vote on a rising star. Dersma is number 1 after the last couple of weeks. He's gone to number 1. That is 17 consensus votes, by the way, not me, not me on my own anyway. But I was just thinking, we can do a vote for the coach of the year. I might put that up over the next couple of days, so keep an eye out for that, and we can get your thoughts. We can even do one for recruit of the year. Make a list of the players recruited from other clubs last year, and we'll make that a poll. I love the community rankings vibe that we're trying to build on truefooty.com.au. And then we can see what you guys think. We also have a little stock exchange on the homepage, which tells you the biggest rises and fallers week to week. Now, at the moment, we haven't had a whole stack of people rate players, but the biggest rises this week were Sam Lawler, Darcy Fort, and Will Hayes. I think that's just early days. It's sort of correcting itself. So go ahead and vote for players and rate players, and it'd be great to see what you guys think and who you think are the best players in the competition. Mr. Harrison says, wave the toilet cam. Imagine that. Imagine the podcast just continues when I go to the bathroom. That'd be incredible.
It can.
Riff says, anyway, Neocleus falls to West Coast. I think so. In the second round. Yes,
Yeah, it's possible, yeah. Yeah, I think he'll be somewhere between 15 and 25. Somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Rogie says, crazy how many more votes Nick Dacos and Luke Jackson have. Yeah, he means the total amount of people who have voted. There was a little bug in the algorithm for how it put promoted the random players. It kept giving you Dacos and guys like Jackson, and it was the same 4 clubs. I've now fixed that. So it's truly random, and there's no cap on free members and who they can vote for.
Lockie B says, Richmond will take Van Hattem, yes or no? I think yes. Obsy says, Dill, what probability do you give Freo of going out in straight sets? 0.
Yeah, very slim.
I think they're too good.
But the tricky thing is, as it currently sits, they might get Brisbane in week 1. And that is their toughest possible qualifying final. But then who would they get in week 2? You're probably looking at an Adelaide or Melbourne. In Perth, you'd pretty comfortably tip Fremantle.
Yeah.
I think they've beaten both teams in... no, they haven't played Adelaide and Perth this year, I don't think. They will, though, in my opinion.
I think the one that they wouldn't want to get there would be Melbourne.
At Optus?
Well, no, I'd still tip them, but I think the more dangerous opponent for them would be Melbourne, just because they're a little bit more unpredictable.
I suppose so. They did pants them earlier this year, and Melbourne still needs to do some more proving around playing away from the G.
Yeah.
I know they torched Hawthorn in Tassie, but Fremantle at Optus I think is even tougher.
I agree. We'll go to the next game. It is North Melbourne 76 versus the Melbourne Demons 92, and this was a really, really difficult watch, Jesse.
Was it? You guys got close, though.
Well, we were in the game.
You were in the game for large periods.
Yeah, we started really well. We're kicking some big goals. LDU was sort of dancing in and around the stoppage, and then it just didn't really land for us. And I was on the DDF stream. I was involved in the production in that. So I was working on that at the time, and I was talking to another North Melbourne fan there. And we're sort of talking about the way that North Melbourne play in this game. They overuse the football to such a degree under Clarkson. At the moment, it's almost like, when soccer teams, they won't shoot and they're just trying to walk the ball over the line, essentially. It feels like that is North Melbourne. And he actually had a stat for me. He's like, North Melbourne in the competition, they kick the least amount of running goals of any team in the competition. And they never have shots from outside 50, for example. So
that would speak to a lot of the stats in this game, because they're 12th for inside 50 differential, which is not great, but they were +6 inside 50s in this game. So the supply was there.
They try to hit the perfect kick every time, and it's always it's just one too many disposals going for that perfect goal, and nobody will pull the trigger.
Is that a personnel issue too, do you think?
I don't think so, because you've got guys, if let's say, for example, LDU picks up the ball around the paint, he could have a ping.
Yeah.
Right? I don't think that's just he has to miss that. Sheasel could have a ping.
Curtis,
Finn O'Sullivan, all of these guys could ping it in. We probably don't have those back flankers.
Yeah.
That could smack the ball 60 metres and kick a goal like some teams. But yeah, I just think they try to hit the perfect pass. They want to get that that mark inside 50. And it's just not there at the moment. So that was frustrating, and it was something that kind of came to my attention in that game. I think Larky's really hurting us at the moment.
Yeah?
Yeah, in more ways than one. He didn't kick a goal in this game. He is just on every chance that he can get, he's just trying to get out the back to kick a goal.
Yeah.
So no representation. We really only get that from Trembath. And it's hurting us a lot of intercepts against us in the last few weeks.
Your conversion was quite poor. So the efficiency of scoring from every inside 50, Melbourne with 54%, North with 37%. That's a pretty big differential there. Yep. So even if you have more supply, you get beaten.
Yeah, and that's
expected score was 89, and what do you end up with? 76. It's not massively down, but still.
But I mean, we like you said, we controlled the ball in this game. We had 396 disposals. It was about plus 20 on them. Yeah. We had 107 marks. So like we can win the ball, we can control the ball, but it doesn't go anywhere. Yeah. We're Spain. Yeah. But not this Spain. Yeah. Like the Spain from like last World Cup.
Okay.
Like tiki-taka.
It's a niche reference.
It's a niche reference. Basically what I'm saying is that we pass the ball around a lot without any progression.
Real Thiago areas.
Real Thiago.
Yeah.
Bit of Alcantara.
Yeah. You know what occurred to me while watching this game was I thought back to your previous loss against Collingwood where Nick Dacos was just the difference maker. It just felt like moments like Cozzy Pickett as well, just turning a half opportunity into an opportunity. Just even if it was just like running the ball from half back through a few North Melbourne players and hitting up a target. It just occurred to me there, like Melbourne, even though they don't necessarily have the deepest midfield, they got such a strong 1-2 punch there with Gawn and Pickett.
There's still there's like a quality gap when you see a player like Pickett, isn't there?
Yeah.
And like, would you say that for North Melbourne that is like we don't have a player? Like we won't have a player as good as Cozzy Pickett? Or do you reckon they are on the list and they're just not in the sweet spot of their career? Like Pickett's like 26, right?
So I don't think you have a player like Cozzy Pickett.
Yeah, I don't know.
No.
I just wanted your opinion on that.
The highest potential would be O'Sullivan, but quite different as well.
Yeah.
And still as good as O'Sullivan is, it's still like Pickett's so good that it's hard to
to imagine.
Say that, right?
Yeah.
What did you think of the Demons in this game?
Yeah, their run and gun stuff is just incredible. Like you said, there were some moments there with Cozzy Pickett and Latrell, and they're just very, very exciting. Max Gawn is Max Gawn. I think they're getting a lot of run from guys like Caleb Windsor, just tearing out the back. I thought Tholstrup was really good as that sort of enforcer, and probably like watching this game against my team, it was kind of the key forwards a bit as well. Like Van Rooyen, he's just like become such a presence, and Jefferson was really good.
Yeah, he's actually having a good year.
Which, as I speak it, I'm like, okay, well, the reason that their key forwards really showed up against us is because we have a shit defence, right? Yeah. So it's part of it. But I do think those guys are part of the reason that they've grown so much.
Oh, absolutely. Van Rooyen's had a really big year. He's kicked 35 plus, I'd say.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if he's hit 40, but...
And the midfield, is just... Like, they lose Oliver and Petrarca, and it's like, it feels more energised in
absolutely,
there.
Yeah.
Sparrow's good.
Yep.
I'm trying to think who else was... Windsor... I don't know how many CBAs Windsor would have had in this game, but he just had some little moments where... Like the movement is incredible.
Yeah.
Langford pushes forward and like one of our like a Dylan Stevens will get stuck on him, for example, and he'll just take a mark. Like he's too big, he's too strong.
So Steele, Pickett and Sparrow were the most attended centre bounce players. Windsor only attended 7%.
Yeah, he was more off the back half, to be fair.
And Fitzgerald got 32.
Yeah. Yeah. No, they just feel very, very well balanced and like I'd say they're a very highly athletic team, which shows us up a lot. We've got a lot of the Caleb Daniel types that don't really move it. You know what I mean?
Lance Baptist says Tom Sparrow was best on by a mile. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, he was good.
Yeah, he's having a great year. Important player for them to re-sign, I would have thought.
I wouldn't say he was best on by a mile, but fair.
So they've firmly nudged inside the top 6 now, Melbourne.
Yep.
We've sort of danced around the topic over the course of the day, but what kind of damage do you think they can do in September? I'm trying to think. They're most likely to play like a Collingwood or a Bulldogs.
You know what? Like the way I feel about the Ds is like they're really dangerous for the teams above them, but they're just as likely to lose to the teams below them. That's how I feel about them.
I can't see them losing to a Collingwood or a Bulldogs at the MCG in a final.
I can.
I can't.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I can.
I think they're streets ahead.
I think they're inexperienced and that's the sort of game they'll lose.
Collingwood could be like a little hurdle for them, but they're clearly better.
They're a better, they are. But teams like that lose games like that when they're not ready for it. I think this is the same as like going into it for them. It's the same as going into a final series for a team that hasn't played finals before.
What if they nudge into the 4? I mean, they do have a fair amount of experienced players, though.
No, I know they do.
There's a bunch of premiership players in that team.
Yeah, but it is a bit different. Like it's a really different makeup.
Yeah.
Over the whole team.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you got Gawn, you got Pickett, you got Sparrow. The first three that popped into my head.
Yeah. Did Sparrow play in the premiership?
Yeah.
He did.
Yeah, he did. Kicked a big goal, I reckon, in their run.
Yeah.
Just looking at the rest of the team. Rivers is a premiership player. Harrison Petty, is he injured at the moment? Yeah, not in the team. Van Rooyen wasn't part of that team. So, yeah, there's a fair bit of turnover there. Christian Salem is a premiership player that's still around.
Yep.
But what if they nudge into the 4?
Well, that's where they get really dangerous.
I think they'd lose in week 1 to Freo, but then they have a home semi-final at the G, and they'd be playing.
Fuck, they wouldn't.
That's hard to work out.
if they finished 3rd and they got Hawthorn, they'd fancy themselves.
Yes. Oh, like in a semi?
Like, imagine Hawthorn finished 2nd.
Oh.
Melbourne finished 3rd.
Oh, yeah. I suppose that's still possible. Yeah, that would be enormous.
Yeah.
Imagine the D's then, in this alternate universe where they beat Hawthorn in week 1 of the finals. They get a home prelim at the G.
Home prelim.
Who would they play then? Then
Brisbane?
you'd be looking at a Brisbane, maybe a Fremantle, depending on the results. So that would be a tough game.
Yeah, yeah.
But
I just think they're dangerous, aren't they? Because you don't have the same. I don't think teams have the same level of data. I think they play slightly differently from week to week. They're new, so when you've got like an Adelaide Crows, you've got that full season last year to predict what they're going to do, and like of Matthew Nick's coaching, where Stephen King's he's a new kettle of fish.
Yeah, that's true. Lance says if they beat Freo and Cats in the coming weeks, they'll get more respect. I think that's a danger game for Freo at the G.
Yeah, for sure.
And the Cats, well, on current form, Melbourne are much better.
Yeah.
I presume is the game at the G. I reckon it is, but let us know in the comments.
Yeah, don't know. It might be down there.
I'm not sure.
GMH.
MCG. Thank you, producer.
This one is a little stanky or banky from Andrew here that I've thrown in here from Twitter. You never want to lose. This is from a North perspective here. Andrew's a North fan. You never want to lose, but it could be a blessing in disguise if we don't win another game for the rest of the season potentially. Clarko walks and a new coach is brought in. Top 5 draft pick with a potential extra second rounder. Easier fixtures. I'm not getting involved in this. I'm just throwing it out there to you.
So they're currently in the bottom 6, which puts them in the bracket for easiest fixtures.
Okay.
So that part's sweet.
I suppose he means not pushing for that goes both ways.
Yeah.
So don't win.
Yeah. That might not be within your hands, to be honest. I don't know what your fixture's like, but Bulldogs, St Kilda are tough games. And I know you don't play any of the bottom 4. Again, I don't reckon. You've played Essendon, West Coast, and Port Adelaide twice.
We play Saints. I think we play the Dogs.
Yeah, I reckon that's about as easy as it gets. You got a tough one, I reckon. You got Hawthorn.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Freo?
No, I don't think you do.
Can't remember.
In any case, I think that might play out that way anyway, with all due respect.
And the Clarko walking?
So that's probably the key one, right? Because moving, you pick 7 to pick 5, or it's probably only going to improve by 1. Is that going to really meaningfully improve who you pick? Because, if it's Drever, right? Would you take a Drever?
I don't know.
You might because he's best available, but I don't know if that's a needle mover, really, considering that you've got midfielders.
Yeah,
right?
I completely agree.
Yeah. So it's the Clarko part.
I don't agree with this. I just read it.
Yeah.
To get your take on it.
Yeah, sure. But is there a world where Clarko moving, and I'm keen on your position here, you get John Longmire? Maybe it's not as crazy.
Would that feel like a great upgrade though? I reckon North are at the stage.
Suppose, yeah.
I actually think North are at the stage now where they want that technician coach. We want we want the Sam Mitchell now. Mm-hmm. We've done the.
So John Longmire's not good enough. You want the next Sam Mitchell.
We want the next Sam Mitchell. Exactly. Wow. You know what I mean?
It's good they grow on trees, Dylan.
We want the highly motivated young coach who's hungry and can sort of inject a little bit of belief into this group that are, I suppose they've a little platform made this season, but really at the same time we haven't beaten anyone. We haven't got flogged as much as other years.
Yeah.
So tick.
Yeah.
Our statistical profile overall is a little bit better.
Yeah.
But there's a lot missing. But maybe this is the point where you go, who's on the market? Who's on the market?
coach-wise.
Yeah.
So Longmire and Buckley are probably the high-profile ones.
But like new coaches.
I don't know. Like Gian Siracusa, Dean Solomon, Corey Enright.
Oh, yeah, let's get
Corey
Solomon.
Enright.
Let's get Solomon. He's dominating. Corey Enright. Yep. Gian Siracusa.
It would be kind of funny.
One of
if you
those
got
kind of...
Solomon.
I'd like... Give me something fresh.
Yeah.
I want something fresh.
Jamie Graham.
Jamie Graham. McQualter.
Bruh. Hands off.
He's available.
Will he?
He'll be
Is he?
available.
Yeah, right.
Okay. So what happened after this game?
Collingwood and Carlton.
Collingwood and Carlton. So Collingwood 90 defeated Carlton 69 in that sort of beautiful Collingwood jersey with the old 90s AFL logo. That really
Carlton?
popped. Did I say Carlton? Collingwood. Collingwood had the AFL.
Oh,
you know
yeah,
the 90s
true.
AFL logo?
Yeah, I love that.
That was sick, I reckon.
You know what's funny? I saw that the jumper was different. I didn't pick that up.
Okay.
This was overlap with West Coast, so I kind of faded in and out.
I just went, oh, childhood.
yeah.
It
No,
came
I
back
do
to me.
love the retro AFL jumper.
Yeah, that
logo.
was sick.
James Kelly and Skipworth, two good shouts. Sorry. For
They're
other
for coaches.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah, James Kelly. Definitely. What was I going to say? Why? Question to the masses. I noticed in the press conference of Craig McRae after the game, he made a comment about, like, somebody asked him, one of the journalists asked Craig McRae and said, what is it about playing Carlton that brings out the best in you? And he kind of, I don't know, like he captured the essence. He was like, he's like, the history is so important to us. And he didn't, you know, often in those things, like coaches are likely to say something like, oh, it's just like, realistically, it's just another game for us. But he was like, he went the other way.
Interesting.
He was like, the history is so important to us. Like, this is basically, like, he didn't say this, but he was like, kind of like, this is a massive, massive game for us.
Yeah.
It's super important. And we're the custodians of this game. We need to carry it on for the next group. And like, that's what I tell the players. And I heard Nick Dacos talking about it as well. And he said that like, it is playing Carlton to them. He actually compared it to a grand final.
Wow.
In its importance. Do you think this game for Carlton, on the flip side, like they just don't give enough of a shit about it?
I've never got that impression. I thought they really cared.
Why do they lose then?
Because they're not as good.
Go on.
When was the last time Carlton finished ahead of Collingwood? It's been a long time. I think I worked out Collingwood have won like 16 of the last 18 against Carlton.
Yeah. So, yes, but like even like look at the showdown, for example.
Yeah.
Huge rivalry.
Yep.
What does that do naturally? It brings out the best in the team that's weaker a lot of the time.
Yeah, I reckon that's an outlier though.
Okay.
Like that in isolation, that is not reflective of the other.
I would say in
games.
world sport, generally speaking, the bigger the game, like, and as soon as it comes like a derby or a rivalry game, it brings out the best in the weaker opposition. I would say over the last 5 to 10 years, while Collingwood have been a better team overall, they haven't been a 16-2. Would you say like the last 18 times or something?
Yeah, I think if I've done the math correctly, it's pretty close to that.
16 of the last 8. Like they just haven't been over that period that much better than Carlton.
I'm not sure I agree with that. So Carlton were pretty dog shit around like drafting Wiedering, Sam Walsh, 2018, right? 22, they missed the finals. Collingwood made a prelim.
Yep.
23, Collingwood won the premiership. Carlton soared to make a prelim.
Yep.
24, Collingwood finished top 4. Carlton crashed out and missed the finals.
You play twice a year. You couldn't pick them off once during that time.
Well, I'm just saying that the performances do reflect who's better. That's all. Whereas I would say that actually does correlate with a lot of other rivalries. So the showdown is the exception, but the Q clash, like Brisbane dominate those.
Yeah, I mean,
there was an
absolutely nowhere near the history involved in that game.
Sure,
and like
Western Derby, like very few upsets.
I mean, of recent times, in fairness though, like I don't. How far does that go back? Because in recent times, you guys have been like, it's not a Collingwood Carlton. It's not a fair comparison. Mm-hmm. How bad you are right now is not a fair comparison of Carlton Collingwood.
Sure. Yeah, I get that totally. But historically as well, the correlation between high ladder finish and winning the Derby has always been there. with the exception of actually the early 2000s, to be fair. That was different.
Manchester United, Liverpool used to always beat them.
Yeah, I get that, but we're comparing different sports here.
We are.
We're probably getting deep into this tangent as well, but
I just think there is something there that like Collingwood treat this game like they put this game on a pedestal and they really want to win it.
Yeah.
And they make sure that they win it.
Yeah.
And they want to smash home their advantage.
I always got the impression without knowing that Carlton did as well.
I think the fans do. I'm not sure the club does.
Fair.
That's sort of where I'm going with that. Rogie says, sadly, Carlton did finish higher than Collingwood in 2024.
Oh, 24 was the one I missed. 25 was the one they finished.
He does this. He comes up with fake statistics.
I do. Subscribe. No, I forgot about 24. I blanked that one. Carlton lost the elimination final. Collingwood crashed out of finals. I did forget about that.
I think their performance against Collingwood has been disproportionately bad. Like whether that comes down to them.
A lot of them have been close.
Well, yeah, but they've lost.
Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah. I just think they haven't had a lot of success as a footy club in general.
Carlton.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but they've been like they haven't won anything. But have
they made the top 4 since we've been watching footy?
No,
since the 99 grand final?
No, but they've been that like they had a little run.
Yeah, a little prance in the fields.
That little prance. Like have in the same way, would you say that like Port Adelaide have been a good team in the last like under the Ken Hinkley era?
No, I do think the showdown is the clear deviation from that.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yes. What about Sydney GWS?
That one's interesting because they're both kind of like perennial finals contenders.
Yeah.
Sydney, there was a trend where the home team would generally win it, I reckon. It's hard without the data in front of us. I don't really know.
This is massive.
I feel like Sydney have been dominating them lately.
They have, but I think it's a pretty, like, you would call that a relatively even, like rivalry game where the ladder position isn't. I agree with you that Collingwood have over that period. Collingwood have absolutely been the better team, but it just feels disproportionate how much better they've been in head to head.
16-2 is pretty disproportionate. It's
quite large.
Yeah. So the game,
Rogie's like, can we get back to the Charlie West chat? Absolutely. Carlton kind of went back to, if you look at their profile in this game, they went back to shitty, contested, can't move the ball Carlton.
Yeah.
If you have a bit of a look at it. Like stoppage, they outscored the Pies 7 goals 244 to 4 goals 125. So they really got on top there, but the turnover game 53 to 24 in favour of the Pies. So they were able to move the ball. And it was like basically any time that Carlton tried to get out of that stoppage situation and really get the ball into clean air and to be expansive, the pressure came. It was your man, Ed Allen. It was Perryman. It was McCreary. It was Long, and it was Maynard.
Yeah.
Defensive integrity, pressure.
Plus 24 in tackles, 72 to 48 to battering.
Yeah.
You know what was really weird about this game? Collingwood smashed them in contested ball.
Yeah, so which is not really them.
The Pies are 17th for contested ball. Carlton are 4, and yet it was plus 13.
Yes.
Where did that come from?
I don't know. Carlton won centre clearance, 16-11, but only scored 1 goal and 1 behind from that source, Jesse.
Wow.
So it was just, I don't know. There was that, obviously that wonderful run from Carlton. It feels like the loss to Hawthorn, you go, that was fine. You're allowed to lose that game. Everybody expected you to lose that game. They had to win this one for me. And at least they had to perform better, and they had to show that they were playing this game like they'd been playing the other games where they were winning.
Yeah.
And they didn't. They just failed.
Analysis. They should have been playing the games like when they were winning.
Yes.
I'm only taking the piss.
I meant that from a perspective of the way they move the ball.
I was taking the piss out of you.
Thank you.
Another interesting thing about just how clean the Pies were, 22 shots at goal and Carlton had 24. So Carlton actually had more looks at it, but 14 goals, 6 goes a long way.
They've just got a lot of plotters though, don't they? The Blues.
The Blues, yeah. Yeah.
Whereas the Pies have got that swift, lethal ball movement.
Yeah.
Jesse.
They do. They
absolutely do.
Yeah. Does that snuff out Carlton's top 10 chances, you reckon?
It's probably not. It's like, if we're being realistic, it's not dead, is it?
Nah, it's just getting pretty slim, I reckon.
It's getting slim.
And kind of, I reckon Collingwood are pretty safe now.
Yeah.
Just on the brand of footy they're playing, I think he's good enough to play top 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's that St Kilda have the spot right now. Are Carlton worse than St Kilda? Not really. They're sort of in that realm, aren't they?
Yeah. They met earlier this year. Saints torched him, didn't they? But that was under Voss.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
Everyone torched them then.
We'll see. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Dacos had 36 disposals and 10 score involvements. Probably just wins the Brownlow by 6 to 12 votes.
Yeah.
At this
It might
point.
be an early... when the winner's announced and they rapidly go through the rest of the votes, could be pretty early in this one.
Yeah, it just feels like, I think like you said to me last week against North, you said Dacos, he was quiet and he only had 28 and won.
Yeah. Well, statistically he was, but like he was very noticeable in that game.
Yeah, but like he's kind of at that point where
Yeah.
he's having like 30 disposals and it's like, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a
Like,
quiet game.
Yeah. Jager had 29 disposals in this game too. So it was a little bit of like Dacos, mini Dacos. Not that I think he's mini Dacos, but
No.
just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Collingwood though, any chance of doing anything?
No.
I've heard a few things people are saying like, could they make top 6? Could they make top 4?
Top 6 is probably mathematically possible. I think there's a quality gap there between the Crows and Melbourne and then Collingwood for sure. But
Yeah.
they're probably the next best side, I'd say.
Dacos thinks they can win it all.
Yeah, of course he's going to say that.
You don't believe him?
I actually believe that he thinks that, but I don't agree with it.
It's elite mentality.
Yeah.
He's like, tells himself.
I reckon
Jesse,
if you ask Harley Reid right now, he'd probably say the same thing.
about West Coast,
Yeah.
that you can win it this
I
year.
reckon that's the default answer. Yeah, we can.
And then he's like, but we
Doing
can't
the
actually
math.
make
Yeah, we can't actually make the 10.
We
Yeah.
literally can't make the finals.
Yeah.
We will go to the West Coast game now, Jesse.
Cool.
Another massive game. Finally. West Coast Eagles 69 to 93. I flicked this over a couple of times. I got to admit, I didn't watch the entire game,
How dare you?
but you guys were doing well.
We were very good.
You were competing. And I thought for a second we were going to have to write a line through the Brisbane lines again. If they lost this game, you'd start to be like, well, we're back again.
Yeah, it's just going to be Freo, isn't it?
Like, for you, I did want the Eagles to win, but there was a part of me like, I don't want to go through this again with Brisbane. Like, just keep winning.
That's so true. I don't know if I felt like that. I'm not the most optimistic fan. I did actually, though, in that last quarter, have belief. Like we were a very strong finishing side over the last couple of months, and we generally do push right to the final siren. And I actually started to think we could get them here, but too potent on turnover. I think the biggest difference between these two sides, Brisbane did what they did around controlling the uncontested footy. We couldn't maintain possession in that same way. We beat them around stoppage, which was crazy. So we were +4 at clearance. We're 17th for that stat, and Brisbane are first. So to beat them at clearance on the night, absolutely sensational, to be honest.
It kind of shows you like the amount of times that we'll do a game and there'll be like one really strong clearance team against a weaker clearance team, and inexplicably the weaker one just wins. It kind of shows you the randomness of clearance.
Sure,
to some degree.
but we got a pretty big body of work to suggest Brisbane should smash West Coast in that stat.
100%.
Right.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
But aerially, I think is actually the biggest difference between the two teams. It was 115 marks to 67. Some of that's uncontested around the ground, but
Yeah.
contested marks 15 to 3. And guys like Harris Andrews.
You took 3 contested marks.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. Well, they were so hard to beat in the air, like Harris Andrews against Job Shanahan at times. And Jake Waterman's much shorter than Harris Andrews.
Yeah.
He's like midfielder height. So that was always going to be tough. But that is actually probably where Brisbane won. And had they not dominated the air, I actually think they might have lost this game.
It's like the worst feeling when you're playing Brisbane and you kick the ball inside forward 50 and you just see Harris Andrews as like set
Yeah.
and like he's in that good position. You just know he's the freak
Yeah.
arms are going to just like
Yeah.
flow over and just grab the ball.
Yeah. Our boy in sub 50 is not great, but he was very dominant. So, yeah, I just give West Coast a big tick for that performance. We seem to play okay against Brisbane. That's 3 in a row now where we've kept it
Yeah.
competitive. But that it also caps off like a run now where we have done the same thing week in, week out. And this is the best opponent we've kept in tow with.
How did the kids go?
Harley, amazing. He spent a whole quarter off the field because he did his ankle. Came
Did I
back
see
on.
a clip of him like falling over on the bench?
Yes.
Let's go there.
So they thought he hurt his ankle doing that. I think he actually hurt it being bumped by Ainsworth. Sorry, comes off the field, then slips over on the thing. He was like off the field for like 25 minutes. Comes back on, and so he's played a quarter less than everyone else, and he had 10 clearances and 23 touches.
Wow,
pretty good. Dersma was okay. He didn't get a lot of time on ball. I think Elliot Yeo is a problem. 89%
yeah, we've spoken about this a bit, right?
But in this game, 89% centre bounces and had like 12 touches. So it's getting to the point where if you're not going to drop him, at least relegate him to a different role and give those minutes to someone else. Like Franco only had 22% centre bounces and he had 22 touches or something.
What was the do you know how many contested? Because I reckon he looks like he's struggling to spread.
Yeah.
Like it takes him so long. The smile, the smirk. It looks like he's struggling to get from inside to out, essentially.
Yeah.
Go on.
It just sounds like you're talking about poop. Anyway.
It's getting later in the stream.
I don't know exactly what the issue is. I don't know if he's done or if he's sore. It's hard to tell, but I think a decision needs to be made there.
Would you...
Blake Roberts, says 24 pressure acts for Dersma, third on ground. That's pretty cool.
Yep.
Good shout out.
Would you cut Elliot Yeo?
I need more information. I need to know if he's injured. Because if he's playing sore, then fair enough.
Yeah.
If this is as good as it gets, then I would probably have that tough conversation to cut him a year out with his contract remaining still.
Yeah, okay. So if he was to say like, no, I feel good.
Yeah. But he strikes me as the guy who would probably see the light before the club.
Yeah.
So I reckon if he's like, let's say he's fully fit, I wouldn't be surprised if he's already thinking about that sort of thing now.
Yep. Harley, this is from Riffs. Harley might be a top 15 player next year. Having 23 disposals and 10 clearances and 69% game time is crazy.
Oh, if he could kick straight for goal, he kicked 4 goals 17 in the last 7 weeks. I think some of that is because he generates opportunities that no other player can, and that he just like goes for goal and they're wild shots.
Yeah.
But like if he starts converting some of those crazy chances, then he's already close, I reckon.
Yeah, you see when he does get shots, like he's so like the opposition a bit when Harley Reid gets the ball, to me it's like moth to a flame. Like he attracts a lot of defense towards him as well. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And then he gets like, then when he's taking the shot, there's a lot of pressure on him.
Yes.
I think that's where some of the misses come from as well.
Yeah, that's true.
And probably part of that is because he's like your only threat.
Yeah.
When he's in at a stoppage, for example, you don't have a lot of threats.
I do think he can tidy that up. Like as much as some of them are really tough shots, the ball's not traveling well through the air. You know what I mean? Yeah. So like I think that will come, but I've been very impressed at how quickly he's become like a dominant contested ball midfielder now.
I think that a lot of help will be though, like if you get other players that can do that as well. Like for example, Anarchy Butler comes into the team and can win a foot. Like it just gives you another threat and takes away some of the pressure from him as well.
Yeah. The Brisbane Lions probably not much to report here.
Not really. Sit and steer job. They maybe weren't absolutely at their best, but did a pretty good job just to get over the line.
They're a little bit wayward in front of goal too.
Yeah. The next game was the Tigers and the Hawks, 52 to 122 in this game. And the Tigers, Jesse, there's a lot of meaning to this game. They didn't only lose, but they also
won the war.
Kind of won the war. So there's a bit to talk about here. They lost the game. Like, where do you see this season for Richmond? Because I reckon I tipped them to finish bottom. So it's not like they're in some sort of a crazy position that we didn't expect. They've had all the injuries, so there is some excuse there for them as well. But Essendon's season has been so bad. It feels like Essendon are in such a worse position than Richmond, and Richmond are somehow behind them on the ladder. So there's a lot going on there.
You think they're getting a little bit off a little easy?
Not really, because I do think there are there's a clear explanation for why it's happening, and it's like but at the same time, they're like the season's kind of disappearing away from. They're losing reason and meaning in this season to get something out of it, and I think that's a talking point. Just the fact that how disappointing that is for them. Whether we can fix it and there's someone to blame, I don't really know. But they're not like it's been a bit of a waste, is what I would say.
It has been a bit of a waste. Yeah, just probably due to the lack of exposure, right? That the kids are getting.
Yeah.
Maybe there's been some green shoots, but you'd think with so many kids there, you'd see you'd think it was such a low likelihood that you would have a year like this where you don't get a lot of development out of them. But evidently that's not the case.
That was the one thing that you thought you would get. You would get maybe not many wins, but you would at least get another 12 games into Josh Smiley. You'd get 20 games into Lawler. Yeah. For example, Houghton the same.
Yeah. I think they've checked out. I think they're more likely to check out in games like this against Hawthorn. 6 goals, 16 really tells the story too.
And can I just say, the 52 to 122, so what's that?
70
points, that flattered them.
Yeah. I think Harrison said that in the chat too.
They kicked a lot of goals late.
Yeah.
I've never seen, when I talked it before, it's actually funny that this happened in the same weekend. I watched the North game and I was saying that North don't have a ping for the goals. Mm-hmm. Hawthorn were just pinging everything in this game. Yeah. I saw Impey kick a goal from outside 50. I saw Sicily kick a goal from outside 50. I saw the Wizard kick a goal from outside 50. He kicked 5, by the way.
Yes. Didn't he kick 5 at half time?
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, I felt like it was early in the third and Lewis and Watson had 5.
McCabe was the other one that kicked the goal from outside 50. They were just getting handball receives, the uncontested possession. So that's always that terrible sign, for a team. You're a young side, you basically can't get the ball off the opposition. They couldn't get the ball off them. Handball receives around the back, goals from outside 50.
Yeah.
Became a bit embarrassing.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt. We got a message from Lance here. I think each passing week our need for merit diminishes. Mackenzie and Ward have been consistently good for most of the season, along with McDonald during his stints in the mid. I kind of think there's some validity to this.
I do too.
I don't know if they should be locked in on Zach Merritt. We sort of talked about it in a trade video earlier. The more if they do that, it just hampers their ability to get other targets when they pop up.
So, I guess what you've got to do here is go, where is... You're building the 23 and you're going, okay, what do we need? Where does Merritt go? So where's he playing?
Midfield.
Centre bounce midfield.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where would you put him?
Well, I think that, I suppose you could put him to half back or something like that. That's where he's playing for the Bombers at the moment.
Yeah,
you could play him
I don't know
wing.
If that's the play, though. I think he plays his best footy in the midfield, and I think Hawthorn are recruiting for that position. They're not recruiting Merritt as a half back, I would have thought. Particularly if they're going to give up decent capital for him.
He's very small.
Yep. Hasn't really hurt him so far in his career.
No, it hasn't.
Yeah.
I suppose, from the point of view that you need, a big thing for Hawthorn has been that, they've struggled in certain games against certain opponents to win clearances. Does Merritt, he's a handball receive guy, and he's more, I think, he's going to do more for you in transition. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure if that's actually a weakness of Hawthorn to some degree. He's an extra good midfielder. I agree with you there. He can win clearances, but I don't know.
I mean, they got Newcomb, so I don't know if they need another Newcomb.
They don't need another Newcomb.
So a damaging transition player helps.
Yeah. Yeah.
More than a clearance midfielder, but
Butters would be better though, wouldn't he?
He would. I don't know if they're in the race for him anymore.
Yeah.
We have a super chat. Birdman, thank you so much. Says could have had Murphy, Reid, Job, and Roby. RFC should sack recruitment team. You're the draft guy. You tell me.
Might have a cheeky video planned on this.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Wow.
I told you about it.
I forgot.
Did you?
Yeah, something about the...
Yeah.
Can I say it out loud? Or just hold it?
No, we'll hold it.
Okay.
Let's be coy and weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could they say no? No. I think it's too early to tell.
Definitely.
But I think there's definitely some certain things that they could have done differently, for sure. I think it's a bit it's a bit harsh with the Murphy Reid one specifically, which is the one that everybody goes to. Why do Richmond get so much more shit for that than anyone else? I know they had more picks, so they missed him more times.
Yeah,
but West Coast didn't pick him.
Port Adelaide would be
Port Adelaide didn't pick him.
Saints
had 2 picks in the top 10, didn't pick him. It's kind of a lot going on there.
And Bo Allen's better anyway. So
yeah, exactly. So Roby is looking like a better pick over Cumming Grill early. Is he?
Yeah. But that doesn't mean he's going to be a better player, but he's had the better year. I'd rank them the highest out of the first year players in performance this year.
Yeah, no, I think so as well. I think that's pretty hard on Cumming though, particularly. I think that's pretty hard on Cumming, particularly because he's been injured.
Yeah, totally agree.
Shoulder injury.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a fan.
I'm a fan of Roby. I rated Roby as well, but yeah, no, I think the way that they're building the list smartly. I think some of these things you do have to give some time.
Totally.
And it's not like it's funny because we're doing it 1 week after Richmond have lost, gone to bottom, and Essendon a second, and suddenly Essendon's build is way better.
Yeah,
which is interesting. I did have something else. That's what I was going to talk about. Just quickly, the Mitch Lewis versus Ben King conversation.
Well, Lance, I think in the chat has just said that Lewis is close to re-signing with Hawthorn now.
Wow.
So that has changed from earlier today when we filmed a video, which is really unfortunate.
So where does that leave Ben King?
I think it'll be with Ben King. Lance says it could perhaps imply that Gunston's retiring.
Yeah. Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Who's in that? So how does that Hawthorn forward line look?
Without Gunston, you go Chol, Lewis, King.
So there's no room for Kalsher.
Deer or Schubert.
Schuberti. I mean, Schubert's still young.
Yeah.
So that one's probably not. And there's also Nan if you play him as a forward, but they might not play him as a forward too. So,
well, he's got he's got his income from the Batman trademark. The song? Do you remember that joke I made?
Yes, I do now.
I forgot about it until just now. It was a ripper.
I just knew that was going to be just some absolute petulant.
Just bullshit.
Just bullshit. Gold Coast and the Western Bulldogs. The Dogs 77-68. This is from Swamp on Twitter. Biggest losing streaks for Damien Hardwick as coach. 9 in a row. His first 9 career games in 2010. He's now on an 8 in a row losing streak.
Yeah.
The second worst of his career.
I remember that. 8 losing streak in 2010. I should remember it because we were in a spoon race with him.
Do you know what's funny? I reckon Damien Hardwick at that point, and even coming up to right before Richmond won the premiership in 2017, he just so had I'm a shit coach and I'm never going to do anything written all over him at that point.
When, sorry? 2016?
So yeah. Imagine the 2016 season's finished. He was just the last guy that you would expect to go on and win 3 flags.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. He was nearly sacked, I think, at the end of 16.
He was, yeah.
Yeah, it's probably one of the bigger cautionary tales for other clubs considering sacking their own coach.
Yeah. I reckon there's a lot of examples of teams sacking coaches that would never have gone on to win 3 flags too, though.
Of course. I'm just saying that sort of lingers a little bit. Even Buckley, they didn't win a premiership, but he was nearly sacked, and then I reckon they made a grand final.
I think Thompson, Geelong, Bomber Thompson was close.
Yeah, interesting.
To the end.
Yeah. I was pretty done with Simpson in 2017. Glad they didn't listen to me. Anyway.
Just cut him.
Rogie said that Ben King has supposedly stopped engaging with Gold Coast in contract discussions, so that's relevant to this game because Gold Coast have fallen through the earth. And a lot's changed since Ben King was reportedly about to sign with the Gold Coast Suns.
Yeah.
And then it backflipped.
And then it completely backflipped.
And there's a correlation with how the season's going.
Do you reckon something happened? Let's speculate.
Yeah, let's speculate wildly. Yeah. Well, I don't know past the results. It doesn't seem like a happy team, does it? Right now?
No, not at all.
Not like Hawthorn.
8 losses in a row.
Yeah.
Damien Hardwick's second worst of his entire career.
I made a comment that I would only tip Gold Coast against Essendon.
You did.
And I suppose you can group Richmond and Essendon. Now Essendon beat GWS.
gun to your head. Okay, so I'll do a little exercise with you here.
Okay.
Gold Coast
Press-ups.
versus Port Adelaide at Metricon.
Port Adelaide.
People first, sorry.
Port Adelaide. If they didn't have Butters again, like it'd give me some pause though.
Like really, like think about it really. You're on just the tips and
Okay, it's this week. I think if Port Adelaide had the team they did before last week, which included Butters and Horn Francis, I would tip Port Adelaide every day of the week. I'm not sure if I would tip them to beat them at Metricon without those guys, as well as they played on the weekend.
even with Zadel.
Yeah, was that how he was bloody good, wasn't he?
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
Okay, Gold Coast are playing North Melbourne at People First.
Current form, I tip North.
West Coast.
I would give West Coast a pretty good chance. I would probably tip them. And definitely at Optus Stadium.
Essendon
I'd tip Gold Coast still.
at the G.
At the G. Hawthorn, Essendon aren't particularly like MCG dominant team, are they?
But like, how do you see? Like, I get where you're going with it. They're playing shithouse, but like, I still have this thing where I can't purely base it on form like that.
Yeah, no.
Like, I have to go. Who are the two midfields? Like,
That's fair.
I've got Dyson Sharp, Sullivan Roby, and Sam Durham up against Noah Anderson, Matt Rowell, and Tuke Miller, and I'm like, just can't, like, as much as I rate those Essendon guys, I just can't trust them against.
Of course, yeah.
Like, they are really good players, but they're just, for some reason, like, they can't do anything right now.
Well, I would still tip Gold Coast over Richmond and Essendon. That was my cutoff. But if Gold Coast were playing West Coast at Optus Stadium, I would be very confident the Eagles would win that on what I'm seeing right now. What's
going on?
Oh, that's a great question.
This is a predicted top four side that can't win a clearance.
Mind you, wasn't that something they did well in this game? They did.
I didn't watch it.
Okay. I did. So they're 18th for tackle differential, 12th for contested ball, 18th for clearance, but they won all those stats in this game.
You watched this game, didn't you?
I watched like a large period of it. Yeah. I don't know if I watched every single second. It wasn't the most engaging game. It was low scoring and scrappy and not the best.
So you said that they won clearance in this game?
Yeah.
So
which is something that's at least moving in the right direction. And to be fair, they actually did kind of get close to winning this game. So
they can't win a clearance against anyone, and then they come up against the Dogs.
Yeah.
With like Bontempelli and Richards, and then that moves the needle for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just brush your leg there.
To be fair, 9 goals, 14. They probably could have won this game. But it wasn't a great game of footy, to be honest with you. Like, you take out Bontempelli, and there's just not a lot of quality on the field in this particular game. I mean,
yeah, it seems to be him or bust at the moment for the Dogs. Even I think they've won around 6 of their last 7 or 6 of their last 8 or something like that at this point.
The Bulldogs?
Yeah. I don't want to go with a stat that's not true. But
that's not like us.
Yeah, exactly. It's something like that. They're 7th on the ladder, so they're sitting pretty good, but nothing convinces me about them.
Well, they had an unconvincing win over Gold Coast, preceded by unconvincing win over West Coast. And I forget who came immediately before that. But
it feels like it's been. They have had a couple of impressive wins in there, but it feels like a sort of, I don't know, like they come up against weak teams and they nearly lose.
Yeah.
And then they'll pinch one here and there against a good team. I mean, you got to give them some credit for it, I suppose, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
The official UFL says the Suns draft pick never mattered. It would have just been signing another mediocre Victorian that whines about wanting to go back home that Saints or Hawks overpay for.
It would have just been signing another. Yeah. Yeah, fair.
Blake Roberts says, I think Petrarca threw out their team dynamic. Defensive transition from their mids has gone downhill.
Yeah, I think it's more to it than that.
It can't just, like...
You should be able to cover for having that offensive player, right? Like, he's not the only player in the comp that's like that. But, getting battered from clearance, that doesn't explain that. Noah Anderson falling off a cliff, that doesn't explain that.
No.
There's a lot of things happening at once.
So... Like I suppose you could play the game of like, who went out for Petrarca? Like on some level, you could probably say like Fiorini
and Flanders.
See, Flanders wasn't, I wouldn't say very like defensively sound player. Fiorini was though.
Yes,
he was solid.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
They are young though. Like as I said, I think I said this last week. The age profile has flipped, so that I think they're still the youngest team over the last couple of weeks. all their first round picks are playing. Like their profile looks like a rebuilding team, to be fair.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make it still not crazy from round one when they smashed West Coast by 10 goals. Now I'm saying like I don't think they're better than West Coast at the moment.
Yeah, and just the expectation overall from what they produced last year.
Absolutely.
It's pretty like even just if you just take it to an individual level, like we kind of talk about all this stuff about team balance. Noah Anderson playing way worse than he was last year. Matt Rowell playing way worse than he was last year. Tuke Miller playing way worse than he was last year. Mm-hmm. So it obviously all like
the only thing going right is Ben King.
yeah, he still kick goals consistently, but nothing else is going well for them. Even the defenders, like
Jared Witts is also a non-factor this year.
Yeah, he's been terrible.
He has been an important player up to this point. Bailey Humphries dropped off. Just reading official UFL.
I mean, he was probably inconsistent last year, but he's probably just hasn't gone anywhere really, has he, this year?
No.
Wants to leave the club. We will move on to the last game of the round. Essendon defeated the GWS Giants by 3 points at Marvel Stadium.
Huge.
I think this, game of the round, for starters, this had me the most compelled of any football match across the weekend. I was loving this game.
I guess because the stakes.
The stakes, man.
Yeah, they were sizzling.
They were sizzling stakes.
Yeah, and the stakes being like all the fascination around Essendon getting a win.
Yeah,
it just made it so watchable.
It did. And then
14,000 people though.
I'm going to be honest though, like it took me a little while. Like I was watching the game going, oh, like cool, I hope Essendon win because it was like, it's fun. And then it took me a little while to actually go, oh, this is massively going to affect the draft. And then I went and checked the ladder and I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah, it came to me later as well actually.
Yeah. So what actually happened here? Because I thought there was a moment late in the game where Archie Roberts gave away a 50-metre penalty. Like it was, was it a 50-metre penalty? It was like a strike off the ball, brought downfield, shot on goal for the GWS Giants. They went in front. I thought game over. And then this little combination play inside forward 50 for the Bombers. It was...
Daywicks started it? Is that the play?
Daywicks may have started it. I've got in my head, I'm like remembering back to the moment. El Ashkar was like a double tackle. So he was just like, I'm not fucking letting this ball leave the area.
That was the same play as Daywicks' mark, I reckon.
Okay, so did he mark it earlier?
He marked it on the wing?
He marked it on the wing.
Yeah.
Kicked it inside 50. So you got, start of the youth, Daywicks.
Yeah.
Kicks it in. Contest from, I think Huss was actually in the marking contest as well. So. I think he brought it to ground. He then hassled, got the ball back to Farrow. So you've got Daywicks, Huss, Farrow. Farrow shoots this juicy, speedy little bullet handball through a little gate into the path of who, Jesse? Sullivanski Roby, who snaps onto his right boot, kicks the goal. Daywicks, Huss, Farrow, Roby, game over.
Roby dub, am I right? There's your headline.
It was beautiful. Yeah. It was absolutely beautiful.
It was cool.
The kids came to play.
Yeah.
Dyson Sharp's just like really good at football.
Rising Star nomination.
Go back the last time the Bombers played the Giants. What happened? The Bombers were pushing the Giants. It was a very, very close tussle. Okay. Essendon were winning.
Yep.
Dyson Sharp injures his shoulder and goes off the ground.
Yeah.
And the Bombers lose momentum. He stays for the entire game this time and they win, Jesse.
That's perfect. That's good.
Yeah.
That's great analysis by you. Chris T says Dylan Speaks play perfectly, by the way.
Thank you. Chris. No, it was fun. It was fun, that game.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Huge result. Huge result. I even said just the tips. I got 8 out of 9 this week. This was the one I got wrong. And I said this will get ugly for Essendon. Because GWS are a bit of a bogey side. Like there's been horrific losses at the hands of GWS in recent years. If you look at, let's have a look at this list. I made a list, Dylan. I fashioned one. The Giants have beaten Fremantle, Brisbane, Geelong, and Hawthorn this year.
Say that again.
Fremantle.
Yep.
Brisbane, Geelong, and Hawthorn. Those are their scalps.
So essentially of the top, like only Sydney, they haven't beaten.
Yeah. They'll play them again too, I think.
Yep.
They've lost to Essendon, West Coast, Carlton in Sydney, the Saints twice, and Gold Coast.
What do we make of that?
And they beat North by 7 points. So that's that whole group there, except
Yeah.
Port Adelaide. I'm not sure, but
All of those teams below them essentially, and St Kilda who are just above them.
yeah,
If you're a shit team, they don't like it.
yeah.
They
So
do
true.
not like it. What?
Yeah. You need to be good to get beaten by them.
How can you explain that?
I don't really know.
Like they're young, they're in transition, they've had a big turnover of players, would be
Yeah.
somewhat, but like you'd still think you'd think there'll be a couple of inconsistent performances. Like for example, I think a good example of that is Melbourne, who are young, transition team, like as in transitioning the list.
Yes.
Lost to Essendon, one off.
Yeah,
But other than that, they've actually been pretty sound.
true.
Couple like they lost to the Giants in Alice Springs, like probably should have won that game.
Yeah, I
for
think
where
they lost to the Bulldogs at Marvel.
yeah, so there's been a couple of inconsistent performances from Melbourne. The Giants, it's just it's actually pretty explainable. If they play a shit team, they lose, and if they play a good team, they win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's actually very predictable.
It's
now
very,
when you
it's
think
very
about it.
predictable.
Yeah.
It's weird.
It is weird. I don't know what the explanation is. I think the temperament of the playing group as well. It's almost like they need to play teams where they can play their game.
Yeah.
And if they don't get that, they don't seem to have any resilience against it.
yeah.
Like pressure that seems to be very, it's their kryptonite, right? They haven't shown an ability to manage that. Like
a
when
good
they lost
call.
to us, the pressure was enormous in that game.
They like those games where the ball's pinging around everywhere. So good
Yeah.
teams move the ball and then they're able to react, turn the ball over in their back half and move the ball themselves. And because that team's got the ball a lot, it's almost like it catches them by surprise when the Giants counterattack. Whereas when they play a weaker team, is it that team is kind of already in a bit of a defensive mentality against them because they're like, we're going to go into the trenches here, we're going to drag you down.
Yeah. Yeah, they focus more on what GWS do, right? Rather than play to their own strengths because teams like West Coast don't have many, or Essendon for that matter.
Yeah.
Somebody did point out that lots of team changes, as Blake says, due to injury. That's true. I mean, that's got to be a little bit of a factor with team chemistry and cohesion. Like they've had injuries coming in and out of the team, and it's lengthy and it started badly. That's absolutely true, but it still is absurd when you point out the teams they've beaten versus the teams they've lost to. It's I don't think I've ever seen anything like this.
It's unthinkable. This is I've got a tweet here from an Alex Fair about the Bombers. He says Bombers. What is that like that? Dyson Sharp's Rising Star nomination makes it 7 for the Bombers since the start of last season.
Wow.
Roberts, Caddy, with one also in 2024. Clark, Kako, Farrow, Roby, and now Sharp. That's a pretty special group. The future is exciting.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if they were the youngest team this week. Probably not. I think it's still Gold Coast. It doesn't really matter. They are an extremely young team.
Yeah.
And it's really promising how well some of those kids are playing. A lot of those kids, actually. It's just not enough as an aggregate to be able to win games.
Yeah. It's pretty much from 2023, isn't it, really? Like the
Yes.
Caddy, Robert.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't even have Caddy in this game.
Oh, yeah.
He went off with
That's a
the,
bit of a worry. Hope he's okay.
the heart issue.
Hope he's okay.
Yeah.
That does sound kind of scary.
Yeah. That happens from time to time, doesn't it, with players? Like some sort of a
wasn't really aware.
rhythmic thing. But
Yeah.
that wasn't good. But like even crazier that they did that without him.
Oh, yeah, it's absurd.
Yeah.
We just had a super chat from Rylan Reed. Thank you so much. There doesn't appear to be a comment, but thank you.
Yes.
Talk to me about
and
Jake Stringer.
Jake Stringer kicked, 7 goals against
Fremantle.
and then kicked 0 goals, 7 against the Bombers.
Well, they kicked 8 goals, 16, didn't they?
There was a point in this game, I think they had kicked, when I turned it on, they might have been like 2 goals, 10. Just one of those ones where...
Yeah.
And it was, in fairness, like as much as Essendon were great, like Giants had these like chances to be able to like start to kill the game and they just missed set shot after set shot after set shot.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, a few people coming in the chat saying Caddy is confirmed to be training this week. That's great. And playing.
Yeah, it could it might not be a massive deal. It could be something that he knows about.
Yeah, it's just like I just kind of saw a screenshot of him hunched over on the bench.
Didn't look good.
He was on all fours.
I think Ollie Wines has had issues with this.
That's true. Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
There's been a few.
Yeah, for sure. What was I going to say, Jesse? I had another one. I've got another little stanky or banky here from Sam Vassini. Really hope that that win for Essendon unlocks some selection decisions for them. Needs to be smaller and faster consistently. Needs to be aggressive with defensive pressure. Their pressure was incredible in this game. I think the energy of the young players was massive. I'll get through this. Needs to be aggressive with defensive pressure through the midfield with the kids. No Parish stood out here. They just looked way better pressure-wise.
Yeah, that's a good point. Bit more modern.
Bit more modern, more athleticism.
Yeah. That being said, Merritt spent more time in the midfield this game and he played a lot better.
Yeah, he did.
Whether that's mental, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. I still thought Durham was probably their best mid.
Yeah.
But he's still a young player to that degree.
That's
but
true.
Yeah, they just bought having like, I don't know what exactly the small forward line they've been running for the last few weeks, but having like Kako and Huss, that was just fun. At least it was fun.
Yeah.
Well, they might not do everything perfectly at the moment. They're super young, but better than like a Gresham or whoever.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Blake says timely that during the week, Caddy had posted receiving 4 slabs of Mother Energy drinks to his door. That is unfortunate. That's fine.
That'll do
it. Yeah. Sheed from the boundary. Thank you for the super chat. Hinkley, a good match for the Tassie team. We did sort of cover this pretty extensively at the top of the show. But so we can give you a longer answer at this if you scroll back. But for the time being, yeah, I think you'd have to say it's a good signing for Tasmania.
Makes sense. Yeah, I can completely see the thought process.
Yeah, absolutely. And as I said, I'm not sure if Longmire is immediately better just because he's won a premiership, but time will tell.
As you said, Hinkley actually used that as a positive
appetite.
Yes.
They want someone to build the foundation. I don't think their first coach is going to be the one who wins a premiership, though. Seems pretty unlikely.
Oh no, God no! It's the building blocks.
Yeah.
It would be cool though with this expansion, like we've seen with Gold Coast and GWS. Like it did take quite a long time. It would be nice if with this one,
it didn't.
They were a bit competitive quicker. That'd be cool.
Yeah, it'd be fascinating to see how the whole expansion plays out. Like with the rules around list building, can they be more successful landing established players? I think that's something the AFL want.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the Tassie club will want that as well, to not mirror what those two teams did.
Correct.
So it just comes down to how many players want to go play there. It'll still take a while, but
it'll take a while. I think it'll be good for honestly, like from just a national perspective as well, like good for the state overall. Like, yeah, they might have there'll be difficulties in attracting players all the time, but I think it will like kind of, I don't know, like highlight the state a little bit more as well.
Yeah.
And make it a more desirable place to go.
Yeah.
Better for the economy and whatnot, Jesse.
Yeah.
All of that jargon.
Yeah.
Blair Dowker says, Tassie Premiership Year 2, defend the island. I like that. Blake Roberts says, shout out to Farrow. First game on the wing and 20 disposals, 2 goals. He was dangerous.
Yeah.
Kicking the ball beautifully.
Played a bit forward, didn't he? Farrow?
Well, he was forward at the end there. I don't know if that was actually something where like they positioned him there.
Yeah.
I know there was that cheeky bit at the end from, I think Langford. Did Langford?
Oh, yeah, it was Langford, yeah.
Like a bit of a high IQ moment where he like had the shot at goal and he just did a little loopy chip up. And
it was kind of nearly intercepted though, wasn't it?
It kind of was. Like, they were kind of saying like great idea, and then I started to go like, oh, what if like, and then the next mark they just kicked long, and I started to go, I'm scared.
Yeah.
But if he has the set shot and he misses the goal, it's a worse situation, obviously.
Yeah, that's right.
Brings back memories of that. Do you remember Essendon versus Collingwood a few years ago? The Jamie Elliott goal after the siren. I guess it was Anzac Day.
Yeah, vaguely. Yes, yeah.
And it was off a kick in.
That's right.
And they went coast to coast.
Oh, God.
Yeah, crazy stuff. Jesse, I think that's a wrap for the episode.
It didn't rhyme.
It didn't rhyme. No. Good. That's
good by
That's
me.
good stuff.
Yep. That was a whopper. A good show. Thank you everyone for being here. I have just dropped in the chat a link to the trade simulator. So if anyone hasn't become a member on truefooty.com.au, there are free memberships where you can vote. You can use the trade simulator. You can vote on all of our various different ratings and rankings and stuff. I love the idea of the community rankings. But you can also use, paid members can use like an expanded trade simulator that allows you to run through the whole off season. So that's really cool. So become a member. Whether you want to get a paid membership or not, that's completely up to you. But we're trying to build it into a bit of a hub.
Build it into a hub.
We've got 600 members and it's been fantastic.
Absolutely, Jesse. We will wrap up the show. Thank you all so much for listening along and doing this with us. Thank you to the producer. Thank you to you, Jesse.
You're welcome.
You beautiful man. Borat. I can't. After you did that picture, I just can't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the one with me in the bikini.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Where was I? Thank you for doing this with us, guys. We'll see you in the next one.